We're live. It's the NBA trade deadline, a couple of hours away. So let's just talk about things. Michael Bolton, are you awake?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and thanks for the free parking. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off? I think it's $20 off. It's early. What is going on? My brain isn't working. That's not a good sign. Nah, it is $20 off your first purchase. That's how it works. Head across to lockedondaily.com as well and sign up for the best NBA newsletter for your favorite team. That is lockedondaily.com. If you are here on the live trade deadline show, not watching or listening after the fact, hit the thumb, leave your comments, drop it in the chat, share it out to people as well. We're going to be talking. We're going to be going through stuff as it's happening, what we need to talk about. It is today National Periodic Table Day. So all of you guys get your periodic tables out. Tell me your favorite element. Tell me your favorite, what do you call it, abbreviation? Is it PB? You love the old PB for lead? Is that a good one for you? What about AG for silver? AU for gold? Would you just like to plain and simple CO for cobalt? What is your favorite element and your favorite elemental symbol? Guys, how is everyone going here in the live? We've had a couple of trades go down since I was asleep. Nothing particularly interesting, but the biggest news we had is that out of nowhere, Chet Holmgren's available. All right, not even questionable, nothing. This reevaluation 3 to 5 weeks. I guess that wasn't true. I think the 3 weeks is up next week, so we'll see. I believe he'll be limited. He's going to sit back-to-backs. The question you're going to have is, what does it do for Isaiah Hartenstein? And the answer I have for you is, I will find out together, is unequivocally going to make it worse. Is it going to make it that bad? I don't know. Hartenstein is a good enough player that if he plays 27 minutes a night, he's still going to be rosterable. That is decided, right? There's no problem with that. I don't think there's an issue there. But will it be enough that, he's top 50 or top 90? I don't know about Hartenstein. And then there's trickle-down effects, because it means less minutes for Jalen Williams at the 4, less minutes for Pig Williams, and then what does that do to Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe and all that sort of stuff. But most of that stuff is all peripheral. It clearly, I think, moves Cason Wallace out of Hong Kong mattressing, but also out of being a must-roster player. Just you lose 2 minutes or so off it as you get a player like Chet back, and that is what goes down. All right, so what I'll just give you a couple of the trades that have gone down since we've been gone. Jared Butler. This is an interesting one. Jared Butler goes to Philadelphia with 4 second-round picks, and going back the other way is Reggie Jackson and a first-round pick. The interesting thing about Jared Butler, obviously he's had a couple of really good games this season, and we were wondering and hoping, I guess, from a fantasy point of view, that the Wizards would unleash him and we'd get big numbers out of him down the stretch. That's not happening in Philadelphia, obviously, because there is Tyrese Maxey that exists. But the other interesting thing with Butler is he was really, really close to his 50-game two-way contract limit. If I go and double-check where he was at, he's only got 8 left. So, he's not really going to play very much unless they convert him, which they can, but they've got him, they've got Jeff Doughton, and they've got Justin Edwards on those two-way deals. So, that kills any hope, I believe, of Butler doing anything fantasy-wise. As for Reggie Jackson, he's not going to play in Washington, so I don't think we need to worry too much about that. But it just opens up stuff there, reduces a player who could have impacted in Washington, in Butler, and moves more value, I guess, into Bub Carrington. Not that Carrington would have lost from Butler being there, but it just, there's that occasional, what if Butler does this idea? It's not anything seismic, very, very clearly. We also had another move go down as the oft-traded Davion Mitchell and the oft-traded PJ Tucker was switched for each other. Davion Mitchell's traded from the Kings to the Raptors in the offseason. Now he's on the way to Miami, while PJ Tucker, who was with the Clippers and then went to the Jazz and then went to the Heat, is now back with the Raptors, just doing a reunion tour with his former team. So the Raptors get Tucker, second-round pick and cash. Mitchell had been made superfluous by the presence of Jamal Shed, who'd overtaken him. I hope that this is a bet on Emmanuel quickly being a bit healthier, because otherwise, yeah. But I guess the thing you look at is that Barnes can just be a point guard and Brandon Ingram can be a point guard slightly. And surely this is just we're getting a second round pick and cash out of this deal, and PJ Tucker's not going to do anything. Although, again, you lose Kelly Olynyk and then you're relying upon Mobo and Boucher. I just don't know what Toronto's doing. I don't understand what their plan is necessarily. I don't get what they're trying to do. And that's been the case for many years, and hence why they're stuck in this weird spot where they're not terrible and they're not good. They're below mid, but they're never going to be good. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, does Davion Mitchell have value? No, because he's a very, very bad player. So he will sit there as a backup behind old mates Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier, and this is just, relatively inconsequential, I guess. And that's where we're at. All right, how's everyone going here live in the chat? Anyone had any extra thoughts on some of the deals that went down? Apparently we've got another trade that's going down at the moment. What are we looking here? Patrick Baldwin getting moved? Again? Just players that are getting double traded all over the shop. Is that what we're doing? All right. Not this Raptors ranting again. Sorry, Vince. Sorry for giving a thought on a team that Raptors fans complain about don't get enough media coverage, and I'm giving you my coverage of why I think they're bad. Sorry, bud. All right. Patrick Baldwin does stink. Whoever said that, he does. So it's Patrick Baldwin to San Antonio from Milwaukee for cash. This doesn't matter. It just doesn't mean anything. So, yeah, I'll put it up on the screen. Give me a little bit of something to do here. I think the question, or the thing that I'm really not sure about at the moment, there's going to be a lot of things that I'm not sure about through the trade deadline, is trying to figure out the value of Dalton Connect, because he's an empty player, right? He doesn't do much more apart from points and threes. Does he get into a situation where he just takes enough shots for that to matter? I'm not really sure, honestly. Like, it's a hard one to me. I don't mind a grab of him. Like, who will they start? Ball? Let's say Ball / other point guard. Then there's Green. Then there's Smith. Then there is Bridges. And then there is Gibson / Diabate, right? Those guys there as the centers. So Connect could start over Green, possibly. Could start over Smith, almost definitely, right? He'll start. He'll play 30 minutes or so, and that'll all be very useful. Is that worth grabbing? Yeah, look, I wouldn't prioritize Dalton Connect ahead of Buzelis. I wouldn't prioritize him ahead of Diabate. I wouldn't prioritize him ahead of Jovic or Ware if somehow they're available. But it is interesting to see what run they give him. I think that what we might have a situation here with Connect is he gets into a role where we're in a spot where it does end up overvaluing him or overrating him, I guess. It could be the risk with that in terms of we heading into next season and valuing players that way. But yeah, I'm not really certain on him. As people know, I'm very down on him. As something I didn't talk about yesterday. He's actually older than Mark Williams. He's older than LaMelo Ball. Like, this is a guy who's a rookie and limited and just, yeah, this much older than you expect, I guess. Yeah. All right. We'll bring up these details of this trade. Like, it just, honestly, I couldn't see a trade mattering less. We'll see. Is this the most inconsequential trade that we're going to go down? The Patrick Baldwin for whatever. I don't even know who's getting traded for. Cash? It's Patrick Baldwin and Cash going to the Spurs, and I don't know what the Bucks are even getting out of this deal. Nothing that I can tell at this point. Okay, let's have a look in chat and see what you guys have got to say about Connect. It is Diabate shared minutes yesterday with Salan. Are we worried about that? I don't know if worried is the correct term. Like, they obviously have a lot invested in Tijan Salan. They drafted him 6 overall. He's been terrible all the season. But I thought yesterday he was pretty good. But Diabate played 23 minutes in that game. But remember, Mark Williams also played in that game. So Mark Williams played 25 minutes. It was a game where they just split the rotations up a lot. So basically, I pushed back a little bit on that because Salan and Diabate didn't really share minutes. It was the center minutes were Mark Williams and Diabate. That's it. So the minutes that Diabate didn't play, so he played 22:53, the other 25 minutes and 7 seconds were all Mark Williams. So Salan didn't play any minutes without either Mark Williams or Diabate there. So he got his, whatever it was, 22 minutes. That wasn't an impact on Diabate. And look, the only other center eligible player on this team is Taj Gibson. So they can find minutes for Salan, who's really like a 4/3 who can play some small ball 5. They can find some minutes for him at center without impacting Diabate. Now, Diabate goes into a similar problem that we had with Jared Butler, isn't it? He doesn't have many games left. He's got 8 games left on his 2-way contract as well. Now, it should be relatively easy for them to find that roster spot to convert him. I actually don't have any worries about that. I think that's going to be a pretty comfortable thing for him to be converted into that full-time contract. And I think Salan, if you're talking deeper leagues, is going to be an interesting player just because they need to see if he can do anything at all. And then we'll see exactly where that goes. I'm just going to keep an eye on things, just make sure no other trades are going down. But it's an interesting question. It's an interesting thought. Do I think there's still a possibility of a Vooch trade? Yes, I do. As with anything, right, outside of a few specific examples, like I'm expecting Bogdanovic to go. I am expecting there's a chance Clint Capella is traded. That one's probably less than 50, but nearly every other trade, it's probably 30% chance max of happening, right? So I would be, I don't think that he's going to do that. I don't say, Vooch is definitely getting traded, but yeah, it's a clear possibility, right? The other question people are asking is about Kalo Makovic. Now, that's going to be an interesting one as well, because Kelly Olynyk arrives down there. Makovic started last game. I thought he looked pretty okay. If I was the Pelicans, I would definitely like to see, hey, what can Makovic and Misi do versus 32-year-old Kelly Olynyk? But they might not decide that way. I do believe, and we're reacting to stuff live here, and then I'll go through and I'll fine-tooth comb a lot of the projections. We'll update that all at Basketball Monster, and then I will come back later on and do a second show where we break down stuff in a little bit more detail about the deals and how things have settled, and that'll always just continue to be redeveloped and reassessed over the coming days, right? So I think that in the end, in terms of priorities and hierarchies of ads and that sort of stuff, that Makovic will be up there. I don't think he'll be at the top. You know that I've liked Carlo's game. He can rebound a bit. He can shoot threes a bit. He can block shots a little bit. Sort of, which is again a little bit like Kelly Olynyk. Can't really pass that well. It's sometimes in this work and this game that we play, it's about trying to figure out a motivation of a team, and sometimes you can't figure that out because teams will do stuff and you go, well, that doesn't make any sense. But I don't know why they would elevate Makovic up. I don't know why they would start him. I don't know why he would look okay. Then they go, cool, Kelly Olynyk is the guy now. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, right? Is Jackson Hayes a stream with the Lakers' new center? Jackson Hayes has no value in 10 or 12 or 14 team leagues anymore. It's all Mark Williams unless he gets hurt. There's nothing else with that. That's Jackson Hayes is cooked in that respect. All right. Let's have a look at some other questions that you guys might have. Could I give Dynasty insight on the trades? Yeah, Casio, Rolex. If I see stuff, I will. Nothing that these trades that have gone down today, like Patrick Ball, I'm not interested. I think he's a dud. Jared Butler, interesting player, but he's a little bit older as well. I'm not sure there's much Dynasty there as well. Have I ever aggregated stats on how fantasy points per minute on average changes with increased minutes? No, but it is a good question. It's something I probably will look at in the offseason. Maybe try to remind me. Is Olynyk a better ad than Makovic in a category league? Obviously, Kelly Olynyk has the runs on the board. He's got the track record, right? He's done this before. But again, it's about how a team prioritizes. I think that I would use Makovic over Olynyk because it just makes more sense that they would use Carlo over Kelly. But I don't know. Is Bub going to be back to being an option? Vince talked about this one yesterday with him. It was great, and it was one of those things where we see Kuzma being traded, and we get a good line from Carrington. So we go, of course, those things are related. Except he had 13% usage, right? He shot 64% from the field, which is just not a real number. His usage didn't go up. He didn't do anything. His minutes were fine, but we've seen him play 30 minutes all season, basically, apart from the last 3 weeks. His usage did not go up. In fact, it was well down. Carrington will be an option for us, but it is still a rookie point guard who hasn't shown high usage flashes yet, and that's one of the things I look for in rookie guards. They'll be inefficient, but if you are a guard who plays 30 minutes, who has good usage and the ball in your hands a lot, something comes around at some point. Carrington hasn't shown that yet, and that's different to, say, like a streaming of a Scoot at the end of last season or Keontae George at the end of last season, because they were guards who were playing 30 minutes, who were starting, who had high usage. Carrington hasn't had high usage yet. So he sort of stands around as like a Patrick Beverley type of a player, which is a low usage point guard getting minutes. I think he's on the menu as an option. Keyshawn George will be there as well, but I think they'll be frustratingly low end players. Okay. Someone said, why hasn't Diabate got a contract yet? Well, a lot of it is really just about like financial manipulation of it. They can run him until 50 games and pay him the two-way contract salary. They preserve their roster flexibility, and then when it comes down to it, push comes to shove, they can convert him. That's how that works, I'm guessing. Well, that's how I obviously it can feel a little bit shitty, but I'm sure there's like promises and that go through to someone like a Diabate in that sort of scenario where they can talk tour. Today's episode is brought to you by Robin Hood. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8x the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from the first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/boost. Over 8x the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November the 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. If you are here joining live, good to see you guys here. I'm just going to check guys' numbers in the chats. Yeah, we've got a good number of people here. That's good to have you guys here. Love that. I'd love to see these. Yeah, I think we had a big live number the other day come through of like 3,500. I think it was in the mailbag show yesterday. I'd like to hit that number in this one. I think we will. If I had brekkie yet or just coffee, I don't even eat breakfast ever. But I do have coffee. How's the goat Obi doing? Well, he was very confused this morning because my alarm normally goes off about 5. Get up and we roll out of bed, whatever it is. We go downstairs and he gets up and he goes, has his morning, does his morning business. He goes and does a piss and he goes and has his fresh water. He has a little green toothbrush that he uses to brush his teeth and had his morning little snack. But I got up at like 3 this morning. So I got up, went and had a shower, and then he jumps up. He's like, what's going on? And he went downstairs. He's like crying. He's like barking. Where are you? What are we doing? Why is it so early? So he was a bit unsettled, but we sorted him out. He's got all his stuff done. He's back in bed sleeping as he does now. So yeah, he won't be coming in here, I'm pretty sure. All right, do I drop Mathurin for Lonzo? Amir, sure. I don't believe that Mathurin should be rostered in 10 or 12-team leagues. Is Lonzo going to be your best option? Well, that's going to be dependent, isn't it? You know what I realized? I had such a busy day yesterday, right? All the trades, all the live shows, all of that stuff, all adjusting projections, which I did through to about 8 p.m. last night. I forgot to put in fab claims on players. I forgot. How dumb is that? I actually just forgot to make claims. I'm so stupid, man. Oh, my God. Is Buzelis a priority over Diabate? I think so, yeah. I think so. I think so. It's tough, though. Where does Josh talk about the Mark Williams trade? In the show yesterday, that's headline says Mark Williams trade. But I also did discuss it earlier in this show. We'll go back to things as we go on during the show as well. Mark Williams, if you've got Mark Williams, you just don't worry about it, right? That's with a lot of these trades. Does it impact him? Sure. Is it more likely that he doesn't get shut down? Of course it is. Is it more likely that he doesn't get injured? No. Is it possible that he sees fewer minutes? I guess so. Is it possible that he gets less usage? Almost definitely. Does he get fewer rebounds playing alongside LeBron and Luka, both very good positional rebounders? Yes, possible. Does he see fewer assists because his assists had spiked this season? Yes. Is it possible his shot blocking numbers go up? Yes. One thing that I hear often, and I honestly don't believe this is a general rule, but most people go, well, look at him now. He's going to be getting all these looks from really great passes. It was the same argument that people gave about Nick Richards. Oh, but now look where he goes. People are ignoring LaMelo Ball, one of the best passers in the entire NBA. But yeah, Luka and LeBron are great passers, but that doesn't do a huge amount, right? You still need to get the ball. You still need to have usage to take advantage of these unbelievably great passes. Could it raise his field goal percentage 1 or 2%, Mark Williams? Like maybe. Does it really matter in the end scheme of things? No, not really at all. The most important things in these things are, what is your minutes? What do your minutes look like? How many times are you going to be trusted to take a shot? Usage. Do you have a value? Now, we talk about the positional extremes in fantasy a lot, about how playing at the 1 at the point guard, playing at center at the 5 are important because in terms of replacements of benches in NBA teams, if a point guard gets hurt, they usually can just put a point guard in. They can go from 18 to 30 minutes. If a center gets hurt, they can go from 18 to 27 minutes. If a shooting guard gets hurt, a guy playing 25 minutes might play 29. Then the other guy playing 20 plays 25, and they spread those minutes around. So the 1-for-1s usually happen at the extremes, the 1 and the 5. The other thing is when you're talking fantasy value, if someone's playing the 1, their value rises because usually, the point guard gets more ball handling. It's a little bit of an uptick in usage, but it's a big assists uptick. Playing the 5 also is better than playing the 4 because you get more rebound opportunities, usually more shot blocking opportunities. Also, usually more opportunities for closer to the basket shots, which helps your field goal percentage. So you ideally want players to push from a 2, 3, 4 into a 1 and a 5 as backups and as starters because it just gives more fantasy value. Now, I'm forgetting actually where this discussion was going or what this question was about, but I'm just going to double check. What was this question actually about? I was talking about Mark Williams and that value. And these one of those things that is important, right? In terms of like whether these good passes are here. That stuff doesn't unlock that much. We're looking at changes in valuation. Does someone go from a 4 to a 5, 5 to a 4? Do they take over from a starting point guard, or is it just a wing that got traded like Brandon Ingram? Like who steps up? Like is it like does Bruce Brown now become valuable? And like probably not. Maybe, but probably not, right? Because there's not like a 1-for-1 sort of a spot. Well, Portland finally traded center and Freddie Klingon. Vince, you've been very active in the chat, and this is not against you. I absolutely hate that idea, this term, free Klingon. You know why Donovan Klingon doesn't play? He's not being held back. It's because he is bad. He does not play because he sucks, and they are winning games. And DeAndre Ayton, and like I said this, and people criticized me all the way through this season for saying this. If Donovan Klingon gets to the level of what DeAndre Ayton is a player, it is a giant win. He probably never gets to be that good. For as much as you might hate DeAndre Ayton, you're grading all this on a scale. He's a number 1 pick. Look at his body. Look how strong he is. He should be better. Yeah, but he's not. But he's also, if Donovan Klingon gets to be as good as Ayton, it will be a surprise and it will be a W. He sucks at the moment. They are winning games, right? Will he get freed? And will they? Look, no, I don't think there is. I honestly don't think there is any way DeAndre Ayton's getting traded, but I don't know about that. But it's not that, like, this is so unfair. Why isn't Klingon playing? He's not playing because he sucks. As simple as that. And I don't think that he's a future franchise cornerstone at all. So they shouldn't necessarily 100% be prioritizing him. That's how I view that. Who's the 5th starter for the Pels or the 5th highest minutes? Good question. This is going to vary a lot, I think, during the season. You got CJ, Trey, and Zion, right? Locked in. Absolutely locked in. Misi, the 4th guy, locked in, right? Those 4 are the top minutes guys, but it's going to change because players are going to be in and out. Last game, it was Kyle Makovich. And he closed the game before as well. It could be Olynyk, it could be Brown, it could be Alvarado. That is all possible. It could be Hawkins, who sprained his ankle yesterday, and I don't know if that's going to be a long-term thing, but it definitely could be. Just double-checking for any more trades. Nah, nothing. All right, cool. Let's have a look. Yeah, nothing else about that Baldwin trade either. In terms of Now, what was I actually just talking about? Man, I've really got to get my brain going, don't I? Anyway, I just completely lost my train of thought. If someone wants to drop in what it was I was talking about, that would be great. Let's have a look. Is Buzelis going to make Ayo Dosunmu eventually a drop? Maybe. That is possible. Because the value in Ayo, I've said this a million times as well. He needs to start and play 33 minutes and get a bit of a usage bump to be useful. But if they decide we actually don't want to start 4 point guards and Lonzo is going to be the guy over Ayo and they extended Lonzo and then Buzelis is a starter, then yeah, that might actually happen. That might happen. No, it was the question was about the starter on the Pels. My bad, I just blanked on that. So I think it's probably going to be that fifth most minutes will be a mixture between your Matkovic and then he might be like 26, all right? He could be 30. Matkovic, I think, will be in that mix, and he's a guy they should look to prioritize. But Matkovic, Alvarado, Hawkins, maybe Olynyk, maybe Brown, they don't make as much sense. Matkovic would still be the guy that I prioritize there, but I am also very, very cognizant of the fact that I was higher on Matkovic than like anybody coming into this season. And I was like, hey, if we're doing an early draft in August, I'll take him with my final pick because I thought there was a chance he could play 28 minutes a night and be useful. And of course, that didn't happen until now. So I am, if you want to call that bias, and I don't call that bias, I call that an opinion. And that's my valuation of Matkovic as a player. And I'm sort of, I have softened on it, obviously, because he didn't do anything for months. But I still believe in him. So I think it's probably him. Does the Dalton Connect trade mean I should nominate him in my industry pickup auction draft? Yep, you should. Like I did in that one draft, which, I got him for $1 and I thought people would jump in and they did not. And I was left with him and then I dropped him. And that's fair because he's been bad all season. Is the last minute deadline slower than previous years? Remembering wrong? No, you're not remembering wrong. We had way more deals happen. Usually we do get 1 to 2 trades in the lead up, but we have had like 7 or 8. It's been incredibly busy. And last year, I'm trying to remember what actually happened on the day. I don't think there was anything massively earth-shaking on the day. But obviously today, there's been nothing that's gone on at all. So we are rolling pretty slow. Like Davion Mitchell was traded again. PJ Tucker was traded again. Jared Butler for Reggie Jackson and Patrick Baldwin traded again. Like nothing exciting in any of those moves there. We'll come back, keep your questions going, keep your thinking hats on. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. And when you're looking for tickets for your next big event, it might be concert or comedy, or it's probably just sport, let's be fair. Finding the right ticket at the right price can be a headache, but with Game Time Picks, it has never been easier. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals, so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. I cannot wait to open up my Game Time app. I'm heading over to the US in July. I'm going to Summer League, of course, but I'm also going to be going to some Padres games at Petco Park. And I'm going to be perusing through with Game Time Picks to find those best tickets for me and my family to go and watch the Padres play. And I'll do that through Game Time Picks. With their curated deals, it's simple to find those great tickets at a great price. And we've got the seat view feature. It's a game changer. So before you hit buy, you can see exactly what the view is going to be from that POV. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay. Just having a look through the chat here. Could I rank Connect, Sohan, and Middleton rest of season 1 to 3? No. And I'll tell you why, because I have absolutely no idea what sort of league you're in. But honestly, the way these players are, this is a really good thought about, right, this period and this trade deadline. There are so many players that become very interchangeable. So those things, I can rank them and say 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. The differences, this is not a clear delineation situation. The differences between Connect, Sohan, Middleton, I feel like it'll vary game by game. Now, I would probably have Middleton lowest because I just don't believe he is going to play very much at all down the stretch. I think he'll have these issues with his ankles and he will sit out games. So he's at the bottom. But if you choose Sohan, pretty good chance of it being okay. If you choose Connect, pretty good chance of it being okay. If you want to lean, which is usually a good default decider, into usage, then it is Connect. He is a usage guy. Sohan does everything else better, but Connect will get usage. He's on a bad team and he will get minutes and no real risk of sitting. But when you're debating those things, don't paralyze yourself with indecision for things that ultimately probably don't have an impact. Is Barrett a drop soon? Absolutely no way. What are we talking about? No, not at all. How does my son feel about the Padres letting Ha-Seong Kim go? It's a good question. That's probably the least worried he's been about any of the moves. Like, he likes Ha-Seong Kim a lot. But basically, we discussed this all the time. So in the middle of last season, we were like, yeah, we know that Kim's not coming back, and our thing was, hey, as long as they bring back Profile, we get some help with another starting pitcher, we'll be good. But of course, let's get a catcher in there. But of course, that didn't happen. We were very much aware that Kim was leaving. Also, he had like significant shoulder surgery. He's not going to be available to play for half the year, so he's not that bothered by it. To Ni Chin says, hey, Tone, I shit on Hunter so much I'm not sure how to evaluate him. I don't shit on him. What I do is provide accuracy. I believe in evaluation. He is an annoying player who doesn't do anything apart from score, and that is reflected in his fantasy value all the time. How should you value him? Well, at the moment, you should value him as a guy to hold at the back end of your roster. My thing is that I push back when people go, he's a top 50 guy, he's going to cook, he's the sixth man of the year, maybe he should be in all-star discussions, look how good he is, it's finally coming true. And I go, yeah, you're all actually lost your mind, you're crazy, he's not good at all in that respect. But the value of what he is able to do at the moment is take some shots and have a general idea of you getting value majority of the time. Right, he is a back-end player who, like so many guys, will have patches where he streaks into the top 70. And he'll have patches where he's outside the top 180 because he is so limited and he does nothing apart from score. And we've talked, and this is again a really key, I think, fantasy tenet about the way that about the way that we look at this stuff. When you don't do anything else, Dalton Connect, apart from score and shoot, you've got no buffer. If you have a game where you take 4 fewer shots, if you have a game where you shoot 30% from the field, well, you're going to be absolutely useless. If you are, example, Tyrese Halliburton, who had 0 points last game, it's very easy to look at that and go, that's disgusting. But he had 6 assists, he had 2 steals, and he had a block, or 1 steal and 2 blocks, and that's okay. If DeAndre Hunter scored 0 points, he would have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and that's completely useless. But when you've got that ability to do other things, contribute across the box score, that's why someone like, I'll use Cody Martin. He can average 6 points a game, but he can go 6, 5, 4, 2, 1 and still have some value. And then if he has a scoring explosion, it looks great. So Hunter is that guy where the differences between, hey, he looks good and looks bad is all down to just shooting variance. But when the minutes go from 28 and they push to 33, then you've got more of a buffer on that as well. Let's take a look at any other deals that may have come down. I see nothing else at this point. Oh yeah, the Gafford deal. Someone said that was a big one from last year. That is true. That was a pretty sizable deal that was confusing with the way they spoke about it at the time. Remember that when Luka and Jason Kidd wrote, yeah, so good us getting a backup center. So I thought, oh my God, his value's cooked. And then he was a backup center. And then Lively got hurt. He played 30 minutes a night. He didn't miss a shot for 3 consecutive weeks, and he cooked unbelievably. Because it is impossible to predict injuries, and coaches and teammates and that lie all the time. And you're always put into that position of like, well, I have to sort of listen to what they say, because if what they say comes true and you do the opposite, you're like a complete clown because you ignored the evidence that was given straight to you. But if you believe that they're lying and you then still follow what they say, well, you're like, I should have just followed my instincts. It's a very, very sort of tough line to go through for anybody who's playing fantasy sports or talking about the NBA or whatever it is. What do I project Chet's ramp up to look like? That's hard, I guess. I think that we're talking about he won't be hitting full minutes until All-Star break. I think that's relatively clear. They'll be very cautious with him. I think you're talking 24, 25 minutes, sitting back-to-backs, but that's 2 weeks away. I think after the All-Star break, we'll be fine. Is this the busiest the league has ever had during the trade deadline? Do I think the apron rule has to do with it? I don't know if it's the busiest. I'd have to look into numbers about most trades. It feels like it is. There's definitely way more happening before the actual deadline day than in previous years. Is it to do with the apron? I think most people were claiming that it was doom and gloom. CJ McCollum needs to go to Gitmo. for the fact that he has killed part of the NBA that people love, the transaction game, and he's made it so hard to do stuff. So, like, in the end, no one knows anything, do they? Because this is an amazing amount of trades, and the idea now that even to propose the question that apron rules create more trades, someone would have laughed in your face 2 months ago. No way, man. No one's trading ever. The rules are too stringent. You can't do anything. Well, I guess that's a lie. Any chance we get Eric Bledsoe news? Probably not. I wouldn't know anyway. Eric Bledsoe, one of the few NBA players that's blocked me on Twitter. I don't know really why he would do that, but shout out to him. Am I celebrating the Warriors' downfall? Clarence says. No. I'm not a Warriors hater at all. I don't have any, like, I'm not like, oh, you've been so good, yeah, I have to hate you. No, not at all. I think it's going to be very troubling that that extension, horrible for Jimmy Butler. The combination of Butler, Kuminga, Draymond Green, disgusting. I think that's a lot of pressure on Steph, and I just think Jimmy might not have any of it anymore. It's just such a hard fit. Kuminga, Butler, Green. It's a very hard fit, man. Okay. Yes, Hunter did have a very good game last night. I did talk about that as well. He did definitely shut me up. Drop Julius Randle. No. Why? You guys shout shit into the chat like something crazy happened, like Randle's out for the year. Maybe keep like insane opinions to yourself. No, just me, maybe. Have I ever been... What is this? What's ORID? What is that? I'm just making sure I read that. Have I ever... Bro, I don't know what that is. Did I just read something that was like some sort of slur or something? Does Heald get a massive boost? He gets a boost for sure. And so does Pajemski. They both get boosts. I would much prefer to have Pajemski over Heald. And Ryan says he got a massive boost in your projections. He did, because I have to give him more minutes. I'd take a shot? Nah, I wouldn't. I think he's bad. Right? I think that there's still risk of him doing nothing. And he is like that ultimate, you do nothing apart from shoot. And you shoot threes, and you're going to require that to go in at a high rate, and your terrible play in other areas might limit your minutes. So, no, Pajemski, maybe. Maybe I would take a chance there. What else? I know you said rookies get better over time, but is Castle a drop in 14 team? Well, he's definitely a drop in 12 teams, and he is a drop in 14. I'd say probably yes. Rookies do get better over time, but the problem is that his role is not there. Like, his role has disappeared. Josh, it was a joke. I don't know what that's in regard to, so that's all good. There's so much going on in the chat that I don't know what you're talking about. Who are the other players that blocked me? Remember Sean Kilpatrick that used to play for the Nets? He's the other one that I can think of. The Sixers are now sending an additional 2030 second-round pick to Dallas, an amended aspect of Philadelphia's trade with Caleb Martin and Quentin Grimes. I mean, why? Did Nico Harrison, everyone's making me look like a clown. Can I have a second as well? Is that what happened? I don't know. What's that? Okay. All right. We're still waiting to see if any more news goes down. We'll just keep popping into the chat and chatting with you blokes that are in here. Carrington had a good game too. He did. Iron Salamander. I really do beg people to understand the details behind these things. He had 13% usage. He shot 63%. Right, that's what happened. Yes, the minutes going up is very important. But yeah, is Ware still must add everywhere? Yes, I would be doing that. 100%. 100%, as I'm just about to sneeze. See if I can hold that in. Oh, I did it. Held it in. W for now. Maybe. Will Nurkic stay? Don't know. I don't know who's trading for him, honestly. I would, again, the answer is just usually going to be yes, they're going to stay. What are my thoughts on Devin Vassell after Fox debut? He's going to be a starter in San Antonio. You've got to be better than asking thoughts. Give me a specific question. What to do with Hartenstein? Here's a good question, Kyle. What do you do with Hartenstein? Absolutely, I wish I could swear. Nothing. You don't do anything. What would you do? You can't trade him because everyone's going to go, why would I take him now? Chet's back. You do nothing. You go, oh, well, Chet's back. Let's move on to something that I can actually impact. Don't do anything. It's a waste of your energy. Don't do a single thing with him. After seeing the Spurs rotation, do I believe Sohan will close games for them? I do, and he should. I don't know if it'll happen every night, but yes, I do believe that. Will Chet start immediately? I've got no idea. I would expect so, but I literally have no idea. The Raptors fans seem very happy about what they got back for Pascal now that the Ingram trade is done. Really? What did they get back for him in the end? They got Jacoby Walter, who's not very good. They got back Brandon Ingram, who is just like, yes, he's a bit younger than Siakam. He's a worse player than Siakam, and a terrible fit with their other guys. Like, is it a good deal? I suppose, like, Siakam was probably leaving, but maybe he wasn't leaving in free agency. Maybe he didn't want to leave. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I will be very interested to see how it looks. Okay. Patrick Baldwin's hometown is Milwaukee. That's right. He played the University of Milwaukee or University of Wisconsin, didn't he? So yeah, hometown bump is gone. Oh, here we go. So the second round pick was because Caleb Martin's injured. Nico just cooking again. After consultation between both teams in the league office, Philadelphia's agreed to send an additional second rounder to Dallas. So Nico's gone, hey bro, he's hurt. What? I didn't even know. I thought it was Cody Martin. Man, what? What the Anyway, cool. If Cam Johnson stays in Brooklyn, do you still think any of the Nets young guys? Yeah, like Cam, he just won't play. Like he won't play. Like I'm telling you now, if he stays in Brooklyn, he will be sporadic. The minutes will be reduced, and he won't play. It's going to be a frustrating scenario in Brooklyn for 3 to 4 weeks at least, with random pop-offs and random sits and rests. He's not going to play it out. Do I also hate NBA player podcasts? I'll be honest with you, I've never listened to one in my life. I've never listened to one. So I can't say that I hate them, but I definitely don't have any interest in them. I've never listened. Cody Martin is also hurt. You're right. He sports hernia. My bad. He's got a sports hernia. My bad. Would I take Saar off the wire for where? I don't think so. Do I think Nick Smith's current form is an accurate indicator? No, absolutely not. Because what does current form mean? Last 2 games? Or does it mean last 6 games? Because they're very different things, aren't they? He is going to be a very streaky player. And the addition of Connect does not help him. So if you're talking last 2 games, then no, absolutely not. Do we know how to do a kickflip? I don't. I'm pretty sure he can't skate either, so no. Don't do all caps. I'm just never going to answer your question. What are the odds on Charlotte getting another center? You would think they would have to, honestly. You're relying upon Taj Gibson and Moussa Diabate. Nah. Is Buzelis one of the rest of the season winners of the deadline? Well, I don't think the deadline's actually impacted him at all, to be honest. I don't think it's going to really have an impact. It hasn't. He's just moved into a larger role. I don't know that. Look, he is a winner at the moment, and it is timed up with the deadline, but I'm not really sure the deadline's changed it that much. Do I think Diabate will see 30 minutes? I think he'll come close to it. How much more time before the deadline? 2 hours to go. 2 hours to go. Let's go in, check if there's any more details of any other news or trades that are happening. Nothing is happening. All right. As you can see, I've still got that other trade up on the screen. Maybe I should put the other one across so you can just see another trade that happened. Davion Mitchell and Peter Tucker. It's been very quiet here. Why is this room so hot? I'm going to try and get it a bit cooler in here. It's like very early in the morning. What's the temperature? It's like 22 degrees Celsius at 5 in the morning. It's a little warm. Okay. Do I believe in T-Pain? Of course I do. Is Lonzo worth a hold after the extension? It would depend. In so many of these questions, it depends. Like, yes. Yes, like they're obviously committed to him. He's not being traded anywhere. I will be very interested to see what happens. Does Buzelis go to the bench? Does Dosunmu go to the bench? Does Lonzo stay on the bench? I'll be very interested to see what direction that goes. Yeah. But I would probably try and hold him. Am I seeing Drake? I could not have any less interest in seeing Drake. Not interested. Kale says, did I make those graphics? Yes, I did. I make all my graphics, basically. Yes, I do. How do I have that much energy for that time of the day? It's my job. I have to. It's also coffee, but like, I have to. This is my job. Gabe, one of my favorite SB Nike Dunks. My favorite pair that I have are the SB Dunks, the Mummies. They're the favorite one. They were the first ever pair of SB Dunks that I got. There are so many good pairs though, but it's those. I like my Powerpuff Girl ones as well. They're pretty cool. What are my thoughts on Olynyk and Misi? I've given those sorts a bit, Aaron, but might as well go back to it. I think Olynyk, there's a chance, right? It wouldn't make sense that they would prioritize him over Makovic and Misi, but it's possible. Misi's sort of like, he's doing what he does. He's a very, very much back-end player with extremely low upside. Is Collier a hold still? Yeah, there is literally nothing that has done anything to suggest that he wouldn't be. There has been no change with anything on Isaiah Collier at all. Nothing. So, yeah. Yes, very clearly he is still a hold. Very clearly. Okay. Keep your questions coming in. Will Connect be a factor this season in points leagues? Yeah, like he's going to move up from playing 13 minutes a night. That's absolutely sure. He probably plays 30 minutes a night. He gets a lot of shots. He will be a DeAndre Hunter All-Star, I'm guessing. I think he's worth grabbing. Like, would I prefer him over Buzelis? I don't think so. Would I prefer him over Diabate? Probably not. Probably not. But in a points league, I might. Because I think he's going to get minutes and volume here. Do I think Jimmy plays today? Almost certainly not. Almost certainly not. But I don't know. Audio's going in and out, is it? Well, it's not on my end. It might be an issue on your guys' end. Just make sure you just like exit the stream and come back in. This must be like because it's my audio is fine. I don't know why it would be going down for you guys. It's not me, guys. I don't know why the audio is going, because it is definitely streaming at 100% on this end. Yeah, audio is fine. Yeah, just refresh, guys. It's YouTube. It's not. There's nothing I can do here. Okay, just reload it, guys. There's nothing that I can do with it. Because my mic is plugged in and it is all fine. All right, we good? All right, let's go back and see if there's any more deals that have gone down. Nothing that I can see. All right, so at the moment, I'd say the big benefits here, the big pickups. Well, actually, that's a good question. Let me go and have a look at who has been the most added players, and let's have a discussion on those guys. I think that's not a bad idea. Who's been the most added guy last 12 hours? Moussa Diabate, number one, right? I think that makes sense, right? He is probably that number one guy. Number two is Max Christie. I don't really believe that's one to do. Next one, Dalton Connect. Totally fine with that. Keon Johnson next. Okay, whatever, maybe. Cole Anthony, absolutely not. Matas Buzelis, yes. Nick Smith, no. Keon Ellis, no. Jordan Clarkson, probably not. Corey Kispert, no. Bob Carrington, maybe. Isaiah Collier, absolutely. Brandon Pajemski, maybe. That's sort of where I sit with those ads. Now, if I go have a look over on, that's our Basketball Monster one. Let's see. If I pull that back to, say, the last 6 hours, I wonder if there's any change. Keon Ellis, the number one ad. What? Why? What? All right. Alice and Dick. Okay, that's poor decision making from whoever's making those calls. Let's go look at the last 18 hours. I'm going to guess it is Diabate, Connect. So I would be looking at Diabate, Connect, Makovic, Buzelis as probably the top four there. I'd probably put Buzelis and Diabate at the top. I'd switch Connect over Diabate if I'm in a points league. And then I'd have Makovic probably under those guys as the big winners here. Guys in terms of being losers, like someone like Steph Castle has no value in 12s anymore. I think Olynyk is down below these players. I think that Jackson Hayes obviously loses a ton in LA, if any value that you thought he might have had there. Quentin Grimes might pop, but I don't really think so. That's probably where we're sitting at the moment, I would say. Does LaMelo get traded? I would be stunned. I'd be stunned. Why is Solan getting picked up? You'd have to ask the people who are picking him up, but it's because he's the number 6 overall pick on a team that is tanking. They think, I guess, that he's going to play center. I don't think that's going to be the case, but he will get some extra minutes. I think that's relatively clear, and he will have a chance at some value at some point, but he has been so bad this season that it's hard for me to get excited. I'd rather see a role develop before I make a preemptive ad of Tijan Solan. I don't think that is a smart move at this stage. It's definitely not a move that I would be considering. I would be monitoring it, absolutely, and seeing exactly sort of how they start considering to use him, but we are really a long way from him being an adder. A long way from him being an adder. But it is an interesting name. It's an interesting name just because the value that they put into him in terms of draft capital, they probably want to see what he can do. Now, so far he's done nothing. He's been terrible, and that's not encouraging. But he was better in the last game. I find it funny that in that Mark Williams trade, everybody just ignores Cam Reddish. Rightfully so, but he's just like, who? What? We don't care. No one cares about Cam Reddish. He's just not even considered. Oh, did Cam Reddish have any chance? I'm the first person to mention Cam Reddish, and he was actually part of the trade. Okay. Quentin Grimes going to be available for the Sixers tomorrow. There you go. All right. Would you take Dosunmu or Matas off the wire over old pals Ware and Jovic? Luis, just judging by that, you are in a very shallow league, I'm guessing. Would I like Matas over Jovic? Maybe. I would have Ware still ahead of these guys. I would probably do Matas for Jovic, I think. Is it time to drop Klingon? He should have been dropped weeks ago, Pumpkin Ale. Why do I hate the Raptors? Well, good question, Canucks Kishan. The answer is, I don't. At all. Not even remotely. I don't. What do I think of PJ Washington's value moving forward? I think it'll be less than what it was because he was getting a real bump because Luka was out. And guess what? Anthony Davis replaces him. And Davis will take some of the minutes, and PJ is going to have to also play down a position. So his value will drop. Will it be enough to drop him? I don't know, and I don't care at this point because let's just wait and see. There is nothing clear about him being anything to be a preemptive drop. There is nothing that suggests that. So we don't do it. We wait and see what happens, and then we can adjust later on if need be. What are my thoughts on Trey Murphy and Simons as shutdown for early mid-March fantasy playoffs? Usually, shutdowns happen with about 2.5 weeks to go in the regular season. I believe that Trey Murphy will not play in April. I don't think he'll play. Simons, I don't know. I don't know what the hell the Blazers are doing. They are playing so well. He has not played each of the last 2 seasons in the final 3 weeks of the year. It's possible again. In fact, I would say it's probably at least 50-50 chance. But Murphy seems more likely to be that guy. Any idea how a player gets cleared to play back-to-backs? I'm wondering for Mark Williams in the Lakers playoff schedule. I understand the medical team must clear a guy, but how? Any clue what the parameters are? No, I don't. And the reason I don't know what that is, Shane, is because it's different. Every team, and there's no reason for me to look into what that is. And B, there's no reason for you to look into what that is. And I say that, like, not to be mean, but, like, even if you knew what the parameters were, you would never know if a player hit those parameters. Like, if they said, well, he's got to be able to, display this level of whatever at this point, you would never know if someone did that. So I've got no idea. It's realistically, it's about recovery. It's about soreness, because when you have soreness and issues with your body or your gait or your flexibility or whatever after playing the game before, all those things lead to increased risk of injury, not only from that particular body part, but if you're trying to compensate from something else, other parts of your body can get hurt. So they have a bunch of metrics and recoveries and pain tolerance and speed, sprint speed, jump height, that sort of stuff. I don't know how they test it, and I don't know. And that's probably as much time as I've ever thought about that, because it's never something I'll have to ever be able to judge. I'll never know what the parameters are. I'll never know if someone hit the parameters. I just hear what they say. That's it. And Mark Williams, they would be pretty silly if they pushed him through with stuff, because they can get by with Finney Smith and Hayes playing at center versus Mark Williams breaking down and them having no value there. Could I dunk? I have dunked. I can't anymore. I'm too fat and old, and my knee is cooked. What's my record for amount of live viewers? I think it's a good question. I think the most we've gotten concurrent is 5,000, maybe. Don't know. Actually, don't remember. I think the most on a live, in terms of total views, was maybe 50,000. Can I give a brief rundown on Carlo Makovic, what he brings to fantasy? Yeah, he's like a really typical sort of, don't use all caps. He's a sort of a stereotypical what you might think a European big man can be. He can shoot threes a little bit. He can block shots pretty well. He's actually relatively athletic. He can get up. He's not going to be a huge threat to pass. He's not a off the dribble guy, but he's not a complete Eve Misi, my hands are made of bricks, stone hand center. He's got a bit of an offensive game. Actually, I'm going to look up what Carlo Makovic's G League stats were, because his G League stats last year were impressive as well. Let's have a look. Carlo Matkovic, G League. All right. So he played 10 games in the G League this season, 30 minutes a game. His numbers, they're almost exactly the same. 18 points on 59% shooting 39% from three threes a game. He's averaged 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.8 blocks. So basically exactly what I said to you, which also is 38 fantasy points a game in the G League. So it's 18 and 10 with almost 2 blocks on good shooting with threes. Very good 2-point percentage, very good 3-point percentage, very good rebounds, some surprising assists, and good blocks. That's an incredibly valuable fantasy player. It won't all translate. He's not going to roll with 18 points a game, which usage was 23 in the G League. He's not going to do that. But 20 usage, maybe? I don't even know what I've got him projected at, but 20 usage feels about right, I would say. Makovic over Richards. It's a good question, isn't it? Because Richards sucks. Look, Makovic, if you want to talk ability and fantasy skill translatabilityness, the Makovic clears Richards without any question at all. He is way better from a fantasy skill set perspective. And if they both played the same minutes, I'd take Makovic, no problem. The problem that I have there is I don't know that Makovic is going to start. I don't know what they do with Olynyk or what they do, but I do know that Richards sucks, but they're probably still going to start him. So he's at least got starters upside there. I think I would do it, though. What do you do with Keontae and Schroeder? Well, you do nothing with Keontae. You hold him. What do you do with Schroeder? You should have dropped him actually weeks ago. As soon as he was traded to Golden State, he was a drop. And when was that? The 1st of December? So what do you do with him? You drop him. You go back in time and you drop him weeks ago. Why would the Raptors trade picks to pick up Ingram in his expiring contract? The only way they would do that, because Ingram was very much part of the reason why Ingram wouldn't get traded, was that he wanted to go somewhere that would extend him with a max contract. So I'm guessing that there have been discussions with the Raptors and Ingram that he will sign a max contract there. I highly, highly doubt that it's a rental, because it makes even less sense than what it does trading for him now if it's just a rental. Why didn't LA get Mark Williams before they traded AD? Baby Jesus, it's a really good question. The reason is they had a center. His name was Anthony Davis. So why would they have gotten another center? Yes? Cool. Should you drop Austin Reeves for Doc? Absolutely not. Not in a million years. Nope. Do I think Brandon Ingram's injury magically goes away and he starts with the Raptors the next 1 to 2 games? David? Yes. Yes, I do. I think his injury will magically go away. What's my take on Wiggins now that he's in Miami? I think he loses a little bit of value, a little bit, but he's still going to be like up and down, like inconsistent, but he's going to be a guy to roster. Vooch to the Warriors have been talked about. Like, don't worry about these talks, man. Like, so many of these talks. Oh yeah, Jimmy Butler's going to Phoenix. Remember that one? Remember KD was going to Golden State? Remember every like discussion? Dorian Finney-Smith was going to Memphis. None of this shit means anything. Just ignore it all. Like, these things just can be ignored like so often. How much do I think Reeves loses? I don't really know how to quantify that. But a lot, right? His value spiked because he became the full-time point guard, and that is no longer his job. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up a drop, right? I wouldn't drop him yet, but I won't be shocked if it does fall that far. Is Dante Exum a pickup? Guys, you've got to give more info, man. Because no, but also yes, if you're in a 20-team league. Like, I don't know. Is Pritchard a drop? I dropped him about 4 weeks ago. So, again, up to you. My usage projection of Makovic is much lower than 20%. All right, good question. Let me go and check. I'm going to go. I'm going to have a look at that. Let's have a look. Let's make some adjustments on the fly here because like all of this stuff, and I made cursory adjustments to all my projections on Basketball Monster yesterday, but there's no point going player by player, digging into all the details when I'm just literally going to do it all again today because stuff is going to change. So I didn't like dig into a massive degree. I did sort of cursory adjustments based on a few of the things that had happened. Let's go in and have a look at this. Okay. All right. Makovic. Yeah, like his usage was obviously very high in the G League. I'm just looking now. Like his usage so far in the NBA has been very low. Like incredibly low. But I'm not really sure that's going to hold at that number. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's been like he's taken under 9 shots or under 10 shots per 100 possessions. It's incredibly low. I'm just making some adjustments on his numbers as I do this. Yeah, okay. I do think he probably deserves a bit of a jump. And that's going to change, of course, the more that Trey, Zion, CJ, those guys sit out. That's going to adjust. So we will we make adjustments to all this stuff all the way we go through it. You know, we see how it all looks. Is Shed an ad for deep points leagues? Yes. Is Sticks a drop? Kyle, we are an hour and 40 minutes away from the trade deadline. You can drop Jalen Smith if Nikola Vucevic is not traded. But just wait, man. Like you got an hour 40 to go. Like if Vuce is not traded, then yes, he is a drop. Like relatively clearly. But also, just wait. Why would we make any sort of call on that right now? There's absolutely no reason to. The Warriors are an interesting team also here, guys, in that they don't have enough players on their roster, so they're going to have to make some changes. They're going to have to sign guys to larger deals like Quentin Post. They might have to convert his contract. They've only got on their roster at the moment 11 players and 3 two-ways. And 11 is not enough. So they need to convert some guys. They need to get some extra players in because they do not have enough players. Okay. Is Sharp a drop if they don't make any moves? Do you mean Day'Ron Sharp? I think that Claxton will actually see his role marginalized, but yes. I've talked about Connect already in Charlotte. What is his upside? I think he's going to play 30 minutes. I think he's a bad player. I think he'll get a lot of shots. I think he's useful to take a flyer on, but also he's not very good. Would I drop Jalen Smith for Diabate? The reason I would do that is that I actually know that there is an opportunity in Charlotte. I don't know that there is one in Chicago. Now, if Vooch was traded and Smith played 27 minutes a night, he would be very clearly, I think, better than Diabate. But I don't know that. At the moment, I know that Mark Williams is gone. They might bring another center. They might not. But I know that Mark Williams is gone. In Chicago, it is less than 50% chance that Smith is a starter. So I prefer to hold both of them, but I would prefer to get the guy that I know that, like, I can see it. I know it's there. Now, it might go away, but it also probably doesn't. So that's probably, that's how I would look at that. Would I drop Drew Holiday for Diabate? I would, yes. Yep, Drew's not doing enough, and whatever. What are the odds that Amen is starting point guard next season? Pretty high. I would be certain that Amen Thompson starts next season. Certain. Drop Pippen for Connectia. Why would you be holding Scottie Pippen? Why on earth would you possibly be rostering him? Yeah, see you later. Is Ricochet, or whatever the hell his name is, a drop? Yeah, you probably should just know his name, Theo. Yeah? And give more information on your league. IR Legends, Cam Thomas and D'Angelo Russell drops for streaming deadline pickups. 10 points. I wouldn't drop Thomas. I'm guessing you say he's an IR Legend, so he's in your IR. D'Angelo Russell, I would, in a league that shallow, I would drop him. What's the story with SAR's sudden availability and unavailability yesterday? No idea. Don't know what happened. He was ruled active and then ruled out. I'm going to guess either a clerical error or because of trades, they had to list him as active because they didn't have enough players. I don't know. Nothing that I can get into. I just don't know. Who could I recommend from assists that has benefited from all these trades? It's the Chicago guys, Ball and Dosunmu. With Levine gone, they just get a little bit more ball handling. That's what we haven't really, like Kyrie's assist boost, but that doesn't help you, does it? Nothing really. There hasn't been much in terms of point guard movement. All right. Go back to check on news. Oh, here we go. Nurkic is being traded. Well, there you go. He's going to Charlotte. Why? Okay. Cody Martin, Vasilija Micic, and a 2026 second-round pick. So all that Diabate stuff is cooked. Nurkic, I'm guessing, will start. Diabate will still be somewhat relevant. So I wouldn't panic too much, but the upside now just gets limited. So Jusuf, okay, wow. I was definitely not expecting that to go down. What, Charlotte? What are you? Okay, this is what Charlotte is doing. They got a first round pick out of it, so they're not necessarily trading for Nurkic, which is good to know. But still, that does. If you held on to Nurkic, congrats. That is going to be a good one for you. Okay. Wow. That was not expected. I'm just going to make a graphic for that. Jusuf Nurkic and a first for Cody Martin, Vasilija Micic. Wow. All right. There you go. We've got motion. Something goes down. I like it. All right. Just wasn't expecting that one. So Nurkic, I think, is an ad here. I think we look at that as an ad. That's very interesting. And Cody Martin to Phoenix. So obviously, Cody Martin is currently injured as well. By the way, if any of you, and I know most of you won't do this, I know that people go, how can you trade someone who's injured? This is not NBA 2K. I don't know why. Why do sports games not allow you to trade injured players? It makes no... MLB The Show does it. NBA 2K does it. I don't know why. It makes no sense. It's clearly allowed in real life. And... yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand why it's not a thing, but it's a thing that is allowed in real life. So, we good. All right, let me get this graphic up on the screen. That is really, it's really interesting, that trade. Okay. All right, let's bring this up. So Vasilija Micic goes to goes to Phoenix. Cody Martin goes to Phoenix, and Jusuf Nurkic goes to Charlotte. Okay. Let's get that up on the screen. Should work now. All right, there we go. Let's see, did my graphic production work? Here we go. Vasilija Micic, Cody Martin, second round pick to Phoenix, Jusuf Nurkic, and a first to Charlotte. Nurkic is worth Nurkic is worth adding. Martin, no. What this also means, by the way, KJ Simpson. If LaMelo Ball is out, it is KJ Simpson. KJ Simpson is who you can look at. And the other thing they could do is now I think LaMelo will come back, but I don't know how long he lasts, right? They could start Nick Smith at point guard, Josh Green, and Dalton Connect. So it's a bump for Nick Smith. It's a bump for KJ Simpson. It's a bump for everybody except for Diabate, and that means that Taj Gibson's now got obviously no hope. Micic doesn't do anything, and Martin doesn't do anything in Phoenix. They're just extra bodies. Micic will battle with Cody Martin as with Monte Morris as a backup point guard. That's about that. I'm going to tweet this out just to make sure we get people in the door, make sure they're aware of us being around and alive. All right. Let's get this out. So, what do you guys think about this? I think Diabate can still get some minutes, but obviously the value of it is dropped completely. I'm just going to tweet this out. Come join us.
I don't understand.
Siri, I didn't ask you.
Okay.
Wow. Did you guys hear her then? All right, I'm just going to tweet this out. Just get some more people. Maybe we can hit 4,000 on the live at once. I hope so. As I just share that out. All right, so what do you guys think? Let's get into the chat, see what people think. Pick up KJ. Siri, what's she doing, man?
I'm just adding up batches of ones and zeros. The last lot equaled. I'm just adding up batches of ones and zeros.
Is this chick serious? What's going on? My phone is like on airplane mode and she's still talking. What does that trade mean for LeBron's legacy? A lot, man. A lot. I'll do some... All right, so that is it's a tough one to wrap your head around because Phoenix is doing this, obviously. Not Phoenix. Phoenix is doing it to unload Nurkic because they hate him, but also just to clear some money off. So they use their first round pick not to make their team better, but just, again, Nurkic is better than Nick Richards. Like, I know that there's toxicity stuff involved with all this, but like he's better than Nick Richards. Yeah. It's pretty like... All right, so Taj Gibson's barely going to play now. I'm trying to figure out how we can sort of project this stuff out. So Nurkic backing up Diabate, Charlotte... Well, you think he's backing up Diabate? Diabate wasn't even starting and wasn't probably going to start anyway. Diabate is a 6'9" two-way contract player. He's fine. He's not that good. Nurkic is also not very good. 100 times better than Diabate. Like, he is that much better. And part of the reason Charlotte did this, obviously, is to get the pick. But to suggest that Diabate is this young stud guy they need to really work into, I don't think that's the case. Is Diabate a drop? Maybe. It would depend on who else I'm adding, but I'm trying to make adjustments for this at the moment on Basketball Monster to figure out how we're going to do this. Because I think Nurkic can still be valuable. I would sort of consider him an ad, but there is also the distinct possibility that he just doesn't that they just don't really play him. I think that they probably will. They don't have any center depth. I think they probably will. I am very worried now for where LaMelo is. If I had to make the call again, I'm trying to figure this out on the fly, I would probably add Nurkic over Diabate. Is Bazelis worth a first waiver priority? At the moment, I'd say probably yes. Would I add Nurkic in a 10-team points league? I don't think so. Does it make Dalton Connect a clear winner of the trade deadline? No, he's still bad, man. He's not good. No. Will there be a ramp up for Nurkic? Yeah, I would say so. He's not playing 30 minutes either. That's pretty clear. Why is Nurkic not a great compliment to LaMelo? I think he's fine. I don't think he's a great ad necessarily. Why am I worried about LaMelo? I'm worried about the fact that they will just pack things in for the last X amount of weeks of the season. I think he's coming back from this ankle injury, but they are obviously just clearing out stuff. There is no chance he is not playing. Who do you mean that? Because Brandon Miller's out for the season, who do you mean? Do I think they're taking calls on LaMelo? I think teams take calls on every player at all times. I don't think they're trading LaMelo Ball at all. You used all of your ads on Diabate. You had one ad. Or did you add him 4 times? Nurk is cooked, no? No, he's not. I don't think people understand that Nurkic was actually really good last season. He was really good. I don't know where this idea that he's terrible is. Yeah, he's not as good, but he's still better than a lot of players. Why do people think Dalton is good? Because he had some big moments of scoring, of hitting 5 threes in a row for the Lakers, and he had some big games in college. He's not good. He might be good. He is also 24 years old. And these players generally do not become good. Okay. Does Tyus Jones' value plummet? It's already in the toilet, so yeah. But look, Diabate is not... Diabate doesn't come in here and... Not Diabate. Midsic doesn't come in here and take Tyus Jones. Well, Midsic probably does nothing. He probably doesn't play at all, is my guess. So I don't think that it's a big impact, anything like that. So I'm just trying to make these adjustments on the fly as we try and figure out projections and stuff. Is KJ a must-add while Ball is out? Yeah, like that, yes. Yeah, I think that, again, they can do it this way. They can go with Nick Smith, Josh Green, Dalton Connect, Miles Bridges, and then Gibson, Diabate, Nurkic, whoever you want to put in center. They can do that. But KJ started last game. I thought he was pretty good. He has a similar profile coming out of college to Fred VanVleet. So watch that. He's to me, he might be a better player than Smith. Simpson and Nick Smith 14-team category ads. Yeah. I think they're both worthwhile there. Is Nurkic a deadline winner? Yeah, he goes from 0 minutes to minutes, so yes. Carlo or Eve Misi? I would take Makovic, a way better fantasy player. Makovic is. Any tips on how to approach women? You're asking me. Well, how would I know about approaching women? I've got no idea. Honestly, one of the worst women approaches of all time. One of the worst. One of the most socially awkward people you'll ever meet. Will I be ranking must roster players? Look, that's literally what Basketball Monster does. Look, we have projections that are set up for your specific league, and you can see that. I won't be doing it on the fly on this show because I find it very irresponsible to just try and throw. People will ask it like, I'm trying to talk to you guys, process things as it's happening. But if I just say, well, this guy is better than this guy, and this guy's better than this guy, that the part of the reason that we have this stuff we do at Basketball Monster is to be able to have different we'll have data that backs this up. So I'll finish this stream, we'll give our stream of consciousness thoughts on what happens. I'll end the stream, I'll go do and adjust every projection for every team, and then we'll come back. That'll all be updated for members, and you can check how that all approaches your individual league, whatever points league format you've got, whatever category league, whatever your team build is, whatever your punt is, it's all adjusted, right? And then I'll come back on and do a little bit more, do a full show breaking down how I see this now that everything is settled, because everything has to be balanced. When we're doing projections, you've got to balance everything. And anyone who just chucks out, oh, this guy will be good because he's good, it's bullshit. Like, it just doesn't, that's not how anything works, right? Everything has to balance. You've got to play the 240 game. You've got to play the possessions game. You've got to play the assists game, the rebounds game. It all has to match up. And I can sit here and go, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. But it might not happen at all. I might say all of this, then I go look at the team, and they're projected to be taking 15 extra shots per game versus what makes sense. And then everyone's got to be cut back. So, like, when I go in and make these decisions, like, say, Nick Richards to Phoenix, and everyone's telling me league winner, all this sort of stuff, and I do the projections, I look at it, I actually don't think he's looking very good at all. And then you're killed for it, but, like, for a reason, yes? That's why we do that stuff. Didn't mean to go on a rant about that, even though I did, obviously. But, yeah, that is... It's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to take time. It takes me time to go through all this stuff and figure it all out. It's fun. I enjoy the job of doing it, but it does take time. All right, I hope that was somewhat explanatory. Is Nurkic going to play in late March? I don't know. I would say there's a decent risk that he does not. All right, if there's someone in here dropping fake trades, you're going to get banned. Simple as that. I don't stand for any of that bullshit. Anthony Davis unlikely to play Thursday. Expected to make Mavs debut Saturday. Cool. All right, I'm just going to go and ban someone for being a clown. See you later. Keegan Murray are dropping a 10-man points league. Justin, really good question. You know the answer to this more than me. Have a look at your waiver wire and who are the players there and what do they average and what does Keegan Murray average? Like, these should not be super difficult decisions to make. Is Keegan a 25 fantasy point guy and the guys on your wire are 24? Then jack his ass as hard as possible. Right, easy. Where do I think Capello will end up? Don't care. Where's the best landing spot? Also don't care. There is so much to process through any of this for me and for you playing fantasy, whatever, that trying to guess on those things is a waste of your energy, and I've already wasted too much of your time doing that. But it is important. I think bring it up with you guys just so you're well aware of where to spend your energy. What value is Brandon Ingram this year? Not good. Quickly, Barrett, Barnes, Ingram all trying to share the ball. This is what I talk about when balancing projections. Someone's losing a lot. And I think it's Barnes. But I also think Ingram's not going to get a huge usage. All of them are going to take somewhat of a hit, though. How can I send you a Portland Sea Dogs hat? Oh, I would love a Portland Sea Dogs hat. Email me, redrockfantasybasketball@gmail.com. Email me. I would love one. I am on a mission to collect minor league baseball hats. Here's my Amarillo calf fries hat. Also, the Amarillo sod poodles with a new alternate identity. What is it? The yellow pig weeds or something that came out yesterday with the tumbleweed on it? Yeah. So I am trying to get all of them. Makovic or Diabate? Definitely not Diabate anymore. Get him out of here. Makovic. Carl, I hope that you're doing this to take the piss because I said about Cam Reddish before. Cam Reddish potential value increase. He's bad. He sucks. I don't even care that he plays more. The Nurkic one is really tough because I do think that. Oh, here we go. Here's Jay Cowley Hoops, Joe Cowley giving us a Vooch update, which of course you can choose to believe, but you shouldn't because it's Joe Cowley. The market is currently flatlined. I wonder why that is. Is it because he's bad? Maybe because he's bad. But Phoenix has shown no interest in Vooch. Okay, why would they? He's bad. He's better than Nick Richards, though. Phoenix, like obviously Charlotte is packed in for the year, right? They know they're not going anywhere, so they're just acquiring future assets, which is something they've never really... Oh, DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland. For Karis LeVert, George Niang, 3 second round... Okay. DeAndre Hunter in Cleveland is a drop. He will probably start over Max Strus. That is a clear drop. Because he needs a lot of minutes, and he needs a lot of touches, and he will get none of those. That is a drop. We talked a lot about Hunter before. He is fine as a player, but he is a drop. What does this do in Atlanta? That's the tougher thing, isn't it? I don't. Atlanta, does Karis LeVert get value? Look, Ricochet gets a bump. Vic Krejci gets a bump. LeVert. Yeah, I don't mind LeVert. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm just going to work on some graphics so you can see the deal as we're talking about it. That is a tough one, though. George Niang. Now, he's a sneaky one. George Niang. That's a sneaky one. All right, let's try and figure this out. Very, very interesting. DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland. All right, let's make that adjustment. Really, really, really interesting stuff. I know that sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but just one of those trades where you heard a little bit about DeAndre Hunter going to Cleveland. I think it absolutely kills his value. Like, kills. He's got no hope of 12-team value. He was struggling to have 12-team value as it was, even in Atlanta, where there's not as many good players. Yeah. That's a very interesting deal. All right, let's bring the details of that up on the screen. For you guys here, we have got DeAndre Hunter going to Cleveland. We have got Karis LeVert, George Niang, and picks going to the Hawks. I'm a little bit interested in Niang there. 3 second rounders. It makes Cleveland better. A drop in projections for Hunter for sure. Yeah. Niang could, like, there's an outside shot that Niang starts at the 4. They've been rolling Dom Barlow, Mohamed Gay. Hunter was starting there. That is an interesting decision. All right, let's go to the chat. What do you guys think? Oh, we're almost at 5,000 concurrent viewers. Let's get these numbers up. Is Vit's value increasing it? Yeah, it is. Like, they obviously get LeVert and Niang back, so that impacts that. No, actually, so maybe not. Maybe not. I need to figure that out. Any potential Strus had his cook? Yeah, he's done. Yeah, don't worry about that. Richard's value does go up. He'll play more minutes. Now, he still, like, struggles in terms of what he does. Will Ty Jerome's value go up? Like, a little bit. He gets maybe a couple more minutes because LeVert's not there, but also he still remains the 7th man. And I don't want a 7th man on my roster in fantasy leagues. I don't want it. Because remember, Strus will start, right? Or Hunter will start. One of those two will start. And the other one is the 6th man. So Jerome is the 7th man. Now, it does clear guys out off the bench. Losing Niang is important. Losing LeVert is important. But this also means deep leagues, Jalen Tyson. Jalen Tyson. Just to be clear, we shouldn't look at projected standings on Basketball Monster until a few days. Honestly, the projected standings tab on Basketball Monster is something that's been there for a long time. We're always working to improve. It's really tough to replicate a fantasy league, and I wouldn't pay huge amounts of attention to it, to be honest, the projected standings. I wouldn't pay massive amounts of attention to it. Roto, yeah, head-to-head, not as much. But I will have all of the projections updated today, but then we do what we think is going to happen, and then something completely different happens in 3 days' time, and I have to adjust them. So it's constantly being updated all the time based on new information. But as soon as I finish this stream, I'm going to be going here 5 hours in a row, trying to adjust every player and get the projections as accurate as I can. I think Levert might be an ad. I think Levert might be. I am worried about him. I'm worried about how often they need to cut somebody as well. They've got too many players. Oh, are our prayers going to be answered and they cut Daquan Plowden? Nah, David Roddy. They got too many players. They need to waive somebody. I'll guess that it's Plowden. No, I'll guess that it's Roddy, actually. And Levert and Niang join Atlanta. Always remember this. 2 guys in, 1 guy's out. So Levert could get minutes, and there are opportunities there. Yeah. All right, so I'm trying to figure out how to value this. I don't believe that Bogdanovic is coming back in Atlanta. So he's sort of out of the picture there. I think Krejci, again, you're losing Hunter's minutes, but you're adding 2 guys in. So I actually think my initial reaction was it might be good for Krejci. I think it might be bad for him, because Levert, who can play the Bogdanovic-ish role, but he's been getting 0 minutes anyway. Levert can fill that, and then Niang can come in and take some of Hunter's value. So Bogdanovic has been getting 0, right? So Levert comes in and takes that. And then Niang comes in as well and can take some of Hunter. So while on the surface, yeah, we can look at it and think that it is a solid move. I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure it's a clear grab for Krejci. I'm not sure it's a clear grab for Levert. I would look at Ricochet. Obviously, he's going to play more. I think that the value of like a Krejci, a Niang, and a Levert, it's all going to be set a bit up and down. I think that they could still rotate those guys in. Do not be shocked if Niang starts. I think that there is a large chance that Niang starts, but I think he's more of a 14-team league guy. Nurk or Diabate, I would take Nurkic there. You feel like the only beneficiary fantasy-wise is Ricochet. It's not that Ricochet hasn't been getting opportunities, though. He's just been bad at it, right? So it's not fully that. But yeah, he is definitely more interesting in this spot. And we just hope that some of his stuff comes along decently enough. Niang is the one that I'm pretty interested in here. I just want to see how they would roll with that. They could easily start Levert. I think Levert, Krejci, or Niang are the 3 starting options here. It's one of those guys, just which one, I don't know. And that's going to be the question, isn't it? Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay. All right, so just checking what other information is here. We have got about an hour and 10 minutes to go at the deadline. Are we over 5,000 yet? Not yet. Come on, guys. Let's get the numbers up. Io over Bazalis. I don't have an ad list, Robbie, because, again, this stuff needs to be very more... it's got to be nuanced for your league type. Again, the names that we looked at, Makovic, Bazalis, Connect, Diabate's not there anymore. I think we drop him down. Nurkic, but they could also just say, Nurk, don't play. I don't think they will, but they could. They don't have center depth. So I think Nurk is worth it. I think Niang and KJ Simpson are sneaky ones. Levert, maybe. I'm a bit worried about that one. He's bad at times, and he's really stunk recently. I think that he's in the mix, but as often happens at the deadline, you get 15 guys where you go, maybe, and then it doesn't work out, which I think is what we're going to have here. We're like Krejci, Levert, Niang, all maybes. KJ Simpson, maybe. Nurkic, maybe. Diabate, maybe. Like, I like Makovic, but that's still a maybe. I like Bazalis, that's a must. I like Buddy Hield's a maybe. Pajemski's a maybe. There's no actual real gigantic clear one. Someone said he's Strus affected. 100% he is. Right, 100% Strus is affected because Hunter will come in and he will probably start and play 30 minutes, I'm guessing. Yeah. And Strus is realistically, part of my problem when they signed Strus last offseason was like, they're going to try and defend with 2 centers. Okay, that works. But then like 3 small guards. And they had to shoehorn Strus to become a small forward, which he is not. And now Hunter will play that role. So I don't know who will start or anything along those lines. And obviously Dean Wade is out for a long time here. I think it is... Yeah, I think it is a clear hit to Strus. I think it is a clear hit to Strus. And it's also a pretty sizable worry about Okoro's shoulder. I think that it means that Dean Wade plays backup 4 now because old mate George Niang is gone. I was trying to figure out what I was trying to say there. But they're in a spot now, they lose 2 and gain 1. And both those guys were playing 20 plus minutes a night. So it's like 45 minutes or so that need to be replaced. So like, while we think it hurts Strus, and I do think it does, there are still a lot of minutes around. There are more opportunities now than there were before. I just don't know if he gets them. Like, is it like, that's why I got, maybe Jerome does get that bump. Maybe we do get good stuff out of Ty Jerome. I'm not sure that we do. Yeah. But it's a gigantic hit to Hunter usage-wise. Someone needs to be banned, do they? Bye-bye. See you later. If you drop fake trades in the chat, you're getting banned. Does Schroeder trade hurt Collier value? Dennis Schroeder will not play a single second for the Jazz, is my guess. So no. Is Keyshawn George an ad? Maybe. Why am I so high on Bazalis? He leads the Bulls in blocks per game already in like 18 minutes. He is their first round pick and they are going nowhere. He started the last game. He's played 27 minutes for 3 consecutive games. His shooting is going to be iffy, but he's just going to have opportunities. Like, simple as that. Keon Johnson versus Diabate or Collier. Collier easily. How shocked was I with the Mark Williams trade? Well, not shocked onto the level of a Luka Doncic trade, obviously. But yeah, like I had no idea that was happening. No idea. All right. So it's the Atlanta one's weird. Hunter goes, but 2 guys come in. Levert and Niang. And both could start. Both might be options. But I think, again, when we look at this stuff, when we're viewing the value of somebody like Levert, like Niang, what's their best case? Like, how high is it? Are they going to be a top 70 guy? Almost definitely not. Will they be someone that you have at the end of your roster? It's possible. So try it. But don't worry if you get it wrong, because other things will pop up. So I don't think it's a game-changing sort of thing. Keyshawn George or Niang? That's a good question. Honestly, like, the value of Niang is probably there. Dennis says, Keon Ellis played 26 minutes after the Fox trade. It was somehow promising. I think we should hold. I tell you why. This is where context is very important, Dennis. Malik Monk played 25 minutes. So like we've said all along, if you believe that Malik Monk will play 25 minutes every night, then sure, Keon Ellis can get 26. But that won't happen, will it? Malik Monk had 5 fouls in 25 minutes, so Ellis played more because Monk played 10 to 12 fewer minutes than he normally does. So I could be wrong. They might bench DeRozan or bench Monk or whatever they do and play Keon 30 a night. There has been absolutely zero indication that they believe that is the right move, so there is nothing to suggest that will happen. And last game does not suggest that. Report, before trading for Mark Williams, the Lakers contacted the Pistons and tried to trade for Jalen Duren per Brett Siegel. Shout out to Brett Siegel, but like he regurgitates a lot of bullshit. Definitely not in my trusted list of people to believe in. Sorry if Brett, if you're watching this. Okay. Hunter's I think DeAndre Hunter is not, I think he's not going to be rosterable here. Yeah, we know his limitations. I think he's probably not rosterable. There's just not enough. Deeper leagues, you might want to look at Jalen Tyson, by the way, because he probably has to get rotation minutes now with Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro out. I would say Tyson is. I really like Tyson, and what I've said all along about Tyson is I think he's going to be their Karis LeVert replacement, and obviously Hunter coming in limits the upside there, but he is a very clear name to watch, I think, for deeper leagues. I love Jalen Tyson for Dynasty. I think that he is still very underrated Dynasty-wise, and he is a name to watch. Okay, so look, Atlanta's interesting. Could be Krejci, could be LeVert, could be Niang. All right, I don't think there's really been anything that's really shaped up as a top 70 player. Maybe Buzelis, but I don't think so. Makovic, Nurkic. If Nurkic played 29 minutes a night, he would be that guy. He probably isn't. Diabate is not going to play that much now. So when we look at these guys, Connect won't be a top 70 player. They're all going to be sort of back-end players. And this is a general rule of what happens at the deadline. Maybe you get one guy that breaks loose a little bit in terms of value bumping up. But at the moment, it looks like we're in situations where it's your player like Hunter goes to a good team, loses value. The other team sending out those guys to the worst team sends multiple players who can all eat each other's asses and take those minutes away from each other and production opportunities. That's sort of what we're at this point. So, what has happened so far today that we need to look at? The only things that are really important at this point, I'll go back to the previous trade, which was Vasilija Micic, Cody Martin, and a second round pick going to Phoenix, and then Nurkic in the first going to Charlotte. Nurkic, I think he'll be a little bit slow to get on the ground. They might just not play him at all. So thanks, Nurk, for coming. We'll get the first. You don't play. But their depth is Taj Gibson. So I don't think Nurkic plays 29 minutes. I think he might play 25 and Diabate plays 24. And I would prefer Nurkic over Diabate. If possible, if you added Diabate, it's annoying. I would probably hold. Would I swap him for Nurkic? Debatable. I'm just not sure whether they play Nurk. We haven't really got any signal on that yet. In Phoenix, it doesn't really do anything. Micic probably doesn't play. Martin comes in and battles with Ryan Dunn in the second unit and Grayson Allen, but it's not really going to matter, I don't think, in that spot. Nurkic, so Diabate, value down from yesterday. Nurkic, value up. They both are viable as 12-team options, but without feeling super excited about it. The next trade is Karis LeVert and George Niang going to Atlanta for DeAndre Hunter. Hunter goes to Cleveland. He loses value. I would think that he is a drop. He needs a lot to go his way. And Cleveland is going to keep minutes down, and he's going to be the fourth offensive option. Does he even start over Strus? Now, they lose two guys and gain one, and Dean Wade is still out. So maybe his minutes are fine, but I think his usage takes a significant hit, DeAndre Hunter. And we talked about this right at the start of this stream, is that when you do nothing else, when you don't rebound or get assists or get steals or get blocks and your shooting goes up and down, you rely upon a lot of shots and a lot of minutes. And unfortunately, those shots aren't going to stay where they were for Hunter, so they're going to drop. And then we get to Atlanta, where it could be Krejci, it could be Niang, it could be LeVert. They could all start. And I think if you added any of them, they're marginally interesting. But I think it's back-end stuff. The other one to watch in Charlotte is KJ Simpson, especially if LaMelo Ball is not going to play all season. Dalton Connect, obviously from yesterday, is probably going to have a starting role, but they could easily go Green, Connect, and Smith, with Simpson getting backup minutes. Or they could start Smith. They could start Simpson, Connect, and Green, and bring Smith off the bench. A lot of options for them there as well. Their rotation, in flux. Okogie's still out, but he can come back. There is a lot in flux in Charlotte still as well. And then, of course, if LaMelo plays, Simpson has no value, and Smith has very limited value. I would imagine that Smith goes to the bench and Connect starts over him. Although Smith is way younger, and I don't know. I don't know how they want to view that. Is Makovic good? I don't know how to debate that. I don't know what to debate. Is Makovic good? Makovic is fine. Why is Makovic an ad? Because he started the last game. He closed the game before that. He played 29 minutes a night. He's a three-point shooting, rebounding, shot blocking big man on a team going nowhere, and maybe he gets extended run. I don't know how to yeah. I remember I tweeted I was on the lookout for Cole Anthony during trade. Did I? I don't think so. I don't remember saying that. I said that Cole Anthony is one of those players that if he found a starting job, I think he's misused in Orlando. And if he got traded to a starting position, then we would add him. But I'm not here thinking that he's necessarily going or getting traded. Guys, we're almost at 5,000. Tell your mates, get them in here. Let's get 5,000 lives in here. That would be great. Gambo says, the Suns won't trade Kevin Durant unless they can get a combination of assets and younger players back. Okay. No shit. Why are they entertaining trading Kevin Durant? Why are they trying to get worse? What are they doing? Okay. All right, this is that's a nice little bit of motion there. Nice little bit of movement. We like that. The Cavs, remember, are going to limit minutes of guys a lot. But they another key thing. How many guys in? How many guys out? Cavs lose 2, gain 1. So while we can worry about DeAndre Hunter's usage, and you should, he might still play the same minutes. Max Strus might still play the same minutes, but that's a hit in usage. Jalen Tyson will jump up for deeper leagues. LeVert was doing nothing. Sam Merrill gets a bump. Dean Wade gets a bump when he comes back. Their top 11 guys, Cleveland, Mitchell, Garland, Mobley, Allen, top 4 clear. Then Hunter, Strus, Merrill, Jerome, Wade, Okoro, Tyson. That's their main 11 rotation players. I know people will be rushing to add Ty Jerome. He is still, at best, their 7th man. At best. I don't want a 7th man backup point guard on my 12-man roster. I don't want it. Will Vucevic be traded? Yes. How would I know? I don't know. Guys, these sort of questions, I don't know. Mike says, Mike, I see what you say, Mike N. I'm not going to repeat your question because I'm just going to give you it. Oh, yeah? Is that what you wanted? Ramona Shelburne reports that the Suns' locker room is toxic at the moment. Yeah, not surprised. Maybe is that why? I'm just reading Basketball Monster comments here as well. Okay. Are we going to hit this 5,000 mark? Come on, guys, let's go. Najee, Marshall, or Connect? It's definitely not Marshall. It's Connect, and I don't like Connect. It's definitely not Marshall. Is Bogey getting traded? Which one? Or both? Connect or Makovic in a 10-team league? Gazari, you bring up a good point. If you're in a 10-team league, like, whatever. Your waiver wire is going to be jam-packed with guys who can make an impact, and it's all about just streaming the absolute shit out of your roster. So, I think I probably feel more confident about Connect's minutes, so maybe I'll go with him. Is Nick Smith an ad in a 12-team league? You're going to have bad nights, man. You're going to have nights where he's good. You're going to have nights where he stinks. Right? Stinks. There is a real chance that LaMelo Ball, Josh Green, and Dalton Connect are your starters. And then Bridges and center. So I'm not sure that this actually made things better for Smith. I think there's a chance it made it worse. Why don't I ever talk about points leagues? Well, that's a complete lie. I do. All the time. And I would say 90% of what I talk about is related to any fantasy league. 90%. The reason also that if I do talk about leagues, I lean towards a certain league being category leagues is because it's the most popular form of fantasy. And the most, whenever I do a poll of what leagues do people play in that watch my stuff, it's 70% category leagues. And the data from providers suggests that majority play category leagues as well. But to say that I don't talk about points league players, now if you play points leagues, do not take offense to this. I'm not being rude to you. But you got to get rid of this inferiority complex. Oh, no one ever talks about us. Everything that I'm saying can be let's say 80% of what I'm saying applies to everybody. It's not category league related. Me saying that like DeAndre Hunter's going to lose usage has nothing to do with category leagues. It's got nothing to do with points leagues. It's just to do with fantasy in general. Me saying that the Hawks get 2 players in and lose 1 is points league. It's category league. It's the same shit. You guys don't need to have an inferiority complex about it. Majority of people play category leagues. Majority of people serious into fantasy play category leagues. That is true. But everything that I say is applicable across all leagues. The problem with giving advice on points leagues is that what league do I give it on? Yahoo scoring, ESPN scoring, CBS scoring, Sleeper's disgusting scoring, your custom scoring. I would never. It was very hard for me to say this guy's a 40-point scorer because it means nothing when your league has a range up to 100 or your league uses scoring where they get to 20. Those numbers mean nothing because everyone seems to change and think I've got the one that makes points leagues better when it is clearly garbage. Right? So I don't reference points numbers because there's no point. It applies to 10% of people if I give a specific point number. But everything, I don't have this inferiority idea that what I say is not related to points leagues because it is. Cool? And again, I say that not to be like abusive, even though it probably sounds abusive, but just like understand that what I say is applicable to everybody. Schroeder or Nurkic? Why would you possibly be rostering Dennis Schroeder? So it's obviously Nurkic. When does the deadline end? In 50 minutes it ends. Is Makovic an ad since the Linux arrival? I think so, yeah. Thank you, Wit. I'm glad you agree with me about points leagues. Can I say get well Booker? Because that's your son, is it? Who is watch every year of this show together. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Booker. Get well, man. I hope everything's good with you. I saw someone ask if they drop Asar for Mako in a points league. Please don't. I can easily see a scenario, Owen, where Makovic does more than Asar this season. It's very easy to see. I would probably not do it, but I don't know, man. Like I'm not that far away from it. Like that's not crazy to me. I know that and people have this idea, right? That what has happened all season is what happens. Like I saw this discussion on Basketball Monster that's saying, why have you got LaMelo Ball projected so high? He's only playing 21 minutes a night. Not LaMelo, Lonzo Ball. He's only playing 21 minutes a night. Yeah, you know what? That is all absolutely completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter that someone was playing 21 minutes a night because they're not now. And he's playing 29 minutes a night now, and his minutes limit have been increased. So I don't care that someone played 21 minutes a night. So we can say, well, Makovic has done nothing. True. But who cares? What does that got to do with anything? It doesn't matter. It matters a little bit what has happened. But if material circumstances change, it doesn't matter. Referencing numbers like that, I'm not saying you're doing this. Like referencing those sort of stats for what has happened for 3 months before is completely inconsequential. It is totally inconsequential when trying to project things forward. I'm about projecting things forward. So I might say something that sounds crazy, like when I would say, hey, I think maybe we could consider dropping Peyton Pritchard. Well, my God, he's been so good. He has, but he's also not now. Like, it's about, that's great. Thank you for all that you did, but things are different now. So we've got to look forward. You can't be just hanging, and this is why sell highs and buy lows can happen, because people hang on to stuff that they just shouldn't. So I'm just looking at, you asked the question about points league production and Asar versus Makovic. I think Asar's going to have actually, you know what? In my projections, Makovic comes out on top. That's for a Yahoo points league scoring system. But it is pretty close. Now, should you have more faith that Asar holds a role? Yes. And the difference between them is so small that I would go with Asar. But I think mainly what I wanted to illustrate there is I don't think it's a crazy idea. It's not one where I go, you're an idiot. Like when people are like, man, Dennis Schroeder's a pickup. Yeah, and I go, what? Why? Why would that be? He plays for literally nobody at this point, and I know he's still on the Jazz, but he's not playing for them. All right. So I hope all that, again, makes sense. Owen. Vooch is definitely staying. Yeah, maybe. But we also don't know that, do we? Collier or Bozzalis over Diabate? Yeah, both of them. Easily. Without any question at all. Easily over Diabate. Easy. What is the value of Jonas Valanciunas? Let me ask you this question. SMD, which I assume stands for suck my dick. What is the value of Jonas Valanciunas? Nothing. People are still under the impression Jonas Valanciunas is good. You know why he went to the Washington Wizards on a $10 million a year contract? Because nobody good wanted him. You know why he got salary dumped, and got nothing given up for him for CD Sissoko? Because nobody wanted him. Because he's a guy that on a bad team, if he plays minutes, he'll put up numbers, he'll look like a world beater. But he doesn't work on a winning team in the NBA. And they have a player who has his limitations in Sabonis. But do you honestly think that Sabonis is going to be like splitting minutes with Valanciunas? Playing them together, is that a good idea? It's a fucking horrific idea. Not only would it be terrible on defense, but what the hell happens on offense? It is because then that would mean Keegan goes to the bench. So then what? You got DeMar at the 3 as well, and no one can shoot. What is Valanciunas' value? If Valanciunas plays 15 minutes a night, I think you should feel pretty pleasantly surprised. Maybe I just am completely wrong on that. It's possible. But man, I don't see it at all. Bozzalis or Makovic? Give me Bozzalis. You're in a 10-team league, man. Like Makovic, Draymond, or Jovic, you just cycle through these guys. Cycle through them. You want to take a flyer on Makovic? If it doesn't work out, I don't think it will matter because you're going to have good value players on your wire. None of these guys are hitting top 50, so don't worry about that. Just cycle through it. Don't stress yourselves out about it. Keep DeAndre Hunter? Well, without literally any information whatsoever, I say yes, and I also say no. Guys, you've got to be specific. You know what I can't do? Read your mind. I can't do it. It's impossible. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. All right. I'm just going to check something out here. All right, so let's, what do we got? 45 minutes to go. Okay, so let's think about what's the worst trade so far? Is it Jaden Springer to Houston? Is it Jared Butler, Reggie Jackson swap? What's the worst trade that we've had so far? Who are we waiting on as well? A Vooch Smith or where? Musk Tusk? Well, if it does happen, you probably want Smith, I would say there. But also, that'd be a stupid, an absolutely idiotic move to make now waiting for a Vucevic trade, which probably doesn't happen. It'd be idiotic to do that. I think I might have asked the wrong question there. What I meant to ask is, what players do you think we're waiting on to be traded still? Not like what's the most surprising trade, which is maybe what I said. Are there a certain amount of days a player needs to make their debut after being traded? No. It just depends. Like, the player's got to get to the city, pass a physical, get themselves settled in. It's all individual teams. Now, you would expect that it's not happening same day. Rarely it happens next day. Usually it's two, but there's literally no set. Like, you see the Bulls guys, right? Part of the Levine trade. That happened Tuesday. They're not going to play till Saturday. But Levine has already played from the same deal. Yes, so it just depends. Yeah, that's what I said. What was the worst trade? The worst trade I meant like most boring. Not like, the Luka trade. Terrible. Aussies just laughing at American politics right now. I think like some are, but others are like also like, this is like very weird that this is what's happening. Like I say, there are plenty of people here that are scared. There are people here that are celebrating it as well. It's a very big mixture, but yeah, I would say that there is a bit of laughter. Yeah. Would I swap Middleton for Makovic? Think that Chris resting and like I don't think I'd be bothering with I think I'd be bothering with Middleton. G-Man says the pronunciation of Bilal is Koulibaly. I'm almost certain it is not, because I've listened to multiple French language broadcasts of his games in France, and they pronounce it as Koulibaly. So yeah, that one is that one. Will the Hornets wrap it up and ship LaMelo? Why would they do that? No. People have this fascination of LaMelo Ball being traded. You know who's actually the Hornets' best player by an absolute country mile and is still younger than Dalton Connect? It's LaMelo Ball. If they trade him, they are idiots. Why do people think this is happening? Is Bub Carrington must roster? I think it's okay to roster him, but I don't think he's a must roster. Do we hit 5K? Did we? Someone said we do. W. If Portland doesn't do anything, is Scoot still worth holding? Yes. Is Sharp a drop? Ooh. Maybe. Just checking if there's any more deals going through. Nothing I can see. Sharp is doing very little at the moment. I can see him being a drop, yes. All right, let's go through more of this. Let's hit the likes, hit the thumbs, hit the bangs. We love all that. I'm going to dig into trying to figure out whether there's drops and all that sort of stuff and who's the must-adds. It is tough at this point to really nail down. Like, there are plenty of guys, I would say, at this point to take flyers on. To be like, oh, maybe this works. Like, that's Connect. That's Nurkic. That's, I think Buzelis is a clear ad, right? I would say that Connect is probably close to that. I would then go like Makovic is a maybe. Krejci's a maybe. Niang's a maybe. KJ Simpson's a maybe. Diabate's a maybe. I'm just going to go through and have a look at where projections stand and see what I can find. Yeah, look, Makovic, Dosunmu, Collier, not that that's a trade-related thing, Buzelis, Healed, maybe. That's probably more 14-teamer. Olynyk, possibly. I don't really love it, though. Diabate. Levert, maybe. But it's pretty risky. It's not risky. I just don't really have faith in it. It's a lot of maybes at the moment, I think. Connect, maybe. Like, I don't have him projected super high because, again, I just don't think he's very good. Like, he might average 16, 17 points a game, possible. But doing what else? Think, like, he could be... Oh, here we go. Bogdanovic traded. Terrence Mann and Bones Highland for Bogdanovic. Do not pick up Bogdanovic. We're getting Terrence Mann, and don't pick up Terrence Mann. Remember, Bogdan has not been playing. He has been not in the rotation. So what's currently been happening in Atlanta has not been like, we don't have to account for who fills the Bogdanovic role. It's about other guys coming in now and taking minutes because Bogdan was not getting any. He had been out waiting to be traded. Bogdan on the Clippers is intriguing. He would be... I think he's going to be a stream sort of a player. That's my guess. I'm just going to update this. Bogdanovic goes from Atlanta to the Clippers. All right, as we just make some adjustments here. Bogdanovic going to the Clippers for Terrence Mann. Just let me adjust the graphic for you guys, and we have a think about what all of this does. Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, watch. He would be an ad if something happens to Trey. If Trey misses games, Bones is bad in real life, but he is an interesting fantasy contributor. As I just adjust myself in the chair. All right, let's bring this graphic up. Or as that trade goes down. So it's Bogdanovic heading to the Clippers. Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, and 3 seconds going back the other way. Bogdanovic is a very... Look, that kills Kevin Porter. I would think that's relatively obvious. That kills Kevin Porter there. Terrence Mann wasn't... Bones got 0 minutes a night. Mann played like 12 to 15 minutes a night. Yeah. I actually think, like, one of the... Bazelis is a nice ad, right? I think Nurkic is one of the better ads that's out there. I think Connect is solid enough, but he's, again, pretty empty as a player. And, yeah, we have to have concerns about that now. The Hawks one is going to be really interesting here as to how they... how they roll with this, because Highland is probably going to end up with some minutes, I'm guessing. He's going to have to get some minutes because, well, their backup was Keaton Wallace, but also he's terrible. I thought he might be a good player, Bones. He's very much not. Very much not. So, yeah, we'll find out how that all goes down. All right. So you guys live in the chat, let's hit the thumb. Hey, the chat has gone crazy. Whoa. Nurkic will most likely start. I would think so, yes. Is Vic Krejci a good ad at this point? I don't think so, no. I think he's not. No, I don't think he's a good ad. Can I tell us about Malcolm Brogdon? What do you want me to tell you? He's not worth adding. He's not going anywhere. At this point, he hasn't been traded. What would I possibly be telling you about Malcolm Brogdon? Not worth having, I don't think. but that's okay. Do you keep Collier? Yeah, why wouldn't you? The Clippers are getting the picks, is that right? Did I misread that? Apologies if I did. Oh, they are. My bad. I'm going to adjust that. Sorry, that's the perils of me trying to figure this out on the fly. Interesting. That is an interesting little wrinkle there, isn't it? I wonder what does that mean? Okay. Apologies for that. I will just going to make that adjustment. Bogdanovic will be someone to monitor. I don't think that we rushed to grab him. Again, Highland was not getting any playing time. He was not in the rotation. Mann was barely playing, and there's still going to be Chris Dunn and Kevin Porter there. It does... Yeah, Bogdanovic is better than those guys. It's hard for me to see him as any sort of 12-team league option at this point. He's been so bad this season as well, Bogdan. Hard for me to see that. There you go, adjusted. Bogdanovic, 3 second-rounders, going to the Clippers for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland. Okay. All right. What else are people thinking now about that deal? That is a weird one. I don't know if weird is the right term. Hit the thumbs, guys. We're over 5,000 in the live here, which is awesome. Someone offered Embiid for Duran in a points league. I'm currently fighting for players. What do you think? I don't want anything to do with Embiid. That might come back to bite me, but I am not going to tell you something that I don't execute myself. I don't want to take on Joel Embiid. You might think that it's not much to give up for Duran. That is okay. I will not trade for Joel Embiid. Someone asked a question, I just missed it there. What non-Aussie does the best Aussie accent? It's a really good question. Shane Gillis does a good one. He's pretty good. Robin Williams used to be one of the best ones. I tell you who's got... what's his name? Brian Jordan... something? Brian Jordan Alvarez, I think? Brian Jordan something. What's his name? He's a comedian. He does the best one. Is Bogdan a menace to Power's playing time or usage? Playing time, no. Usage, a little bit. Not really, though. A little bit. Not a massive issue. What are my thoughts on Jackson Hayes at Mark Williams at Laker? Done. No value. He's a bench big man. Absolutely, he's bad. If someone just dropped a fake trade in here, they are getting absolutely kicked out of here. They are. All right, you're a dickhead. What's the point, man? Where are you? I gotta find you as you just lie on stuff. Just idiocy. All right, bye. Booted. I saw multiple people lying in here. What is the point? What do you get out of it? There you go, Michael. You can get your lame ass out of here. Just get out of here, man. Hayes was never good, correct. What are my thoughts on Pajemski? His value is up, but the Warriors, they still need to do something because there's really, they literally legally don't have enough players on the roster. So they need to get some players. I'm going to try to make some adjustments here on these projections on Basketball Monster after this second Atlanta trade. I wonder if they do a third and get rid of Capella. But this is the thing that I'd be worried about. Jalen Johnson's out. Hunter's gone. Bogdanovic is gone. Does Capella go? Does Trey with his Achilles? Does he get shut down? I'd be cautious about this. Yeah, I'll be cautious about what this means. I'm going to see they have now lost Hunter and Bogdanovic and brought in 4 players. They are one of them is going to have to be Cody Zeller that goes. They need to make cuts here. So this is not good for... It's still fine for Niang. It's still fine for Niang because he still plays at the 4. Yeah. A lot happening with that grouping. Is Nance a stash? No. Only if a Kongwu gets hurt, realistically. Remember when Man was untouchable? Yeah. Capella out for personal reasons. Capella was out for back spasms, and then they changed it to personal. When I checked in with my Hawks guys, they were like, Bogdanovic is definitely getting traded. This is what we are. This is what we're doing. Capella, they'd love to, but that's not as certain. That's not as certain on Capella. But I am going to really reduce his projections down. Because I'm not really certain that he's going to be around. But we'll make more adjustments of that as we move forward. But I am definitely worried about Trae Young here. And the Clippers won. 2 guys out, 1 guy in. But only one of those was a rotation player. And he wasn't playing very much. So in essence, it's actually... It's losing value for other guys. So it's not a typical 2 in, 1 out sort of scenario because the guy you're adding in is going to play way more than those other 2 combined. Man wasn't playing. So Bogdanovic is going to be one to monitor for sure. Because if he can play 29, we know he can be good. The problem is that Harden, Powell, Kawhi all exist, so he's not going to be needing a high usage ball handling role. So not probably the greatest scenario for him. But that's where we're at with that. And let's come back and have a look at... I'm just trying to make projection adjustments on the fly here. All right. Let's go back, see what the chat's popping off with. Remember, if you chuck a fake trade in here, you're just going to get banned. You must have a pretty, miserable life. Do I think that... Is there any impact on Dyson Daniels? No, not at all. Explain the Luka trade in AFL terms. Jacob, I saw someone mention this, right? They talked about it this week. I don't like this one, so I'll just throw my own personal Bulldogs bias in there. It was like trading Bontempelli for Jeremy Cameron and a first, which is that was the one I saw was Nick Dacos, but he's 21. Luka's not that. He's not that young, but yeah, Bont for old mate Jeremy Cameron. That was the idea there. Is Giddey a sell high or a hold? Well, with the absence of Levine, I think that we hold on to Giddey. Where's the Vuj trade? It's not here, man. What are my thoughts on the conspiracy about the Luka trade? I don't care. I think it's, like nearly all conspiracies, I think it's stupid. But I also, whatever. I'm not wasting any time on it. Okay. Let's see if we've got anything else that we need to focus in on. I'm just trying to keep everybody up to date here with what we do and don't know. Again, what has happened today? We've seen Bogdanovic get traded to the Clippers. We've seen DeAndre Hunter traded for LeVert and for George Niang. They're probably the 2. Jusuf Nurkic going to Charlotte, who's an interesting ad, killing Diabate's value, and everything else is pretty garbage at this point. So, we're still looking at, I'm interested in Makovic, but it's iffy. I believe Buzelis is a must-roster player. I like trying a grab of Nurk. I think that Hunter is a drop. I think that LeVert might be useful. And then outside shots at KJ Simpson, Musa Diabate, George Niang as well in that spot. Dalton Connect, again, I think he's not a very good player. I think he lacks category league value. Points league value is higher. but he's worth having a crack at. Nick Smith maybe as well, but I think there's a chance he moves to the bench. Lots of moving parts and pieces with a lot of these teams that now move into the risk. Atlanta, Charlotte, really, I focus on them at the moment, of some of their main players maybe playing fewer games. Because the signs of them just moving on, dumping, acquiring assets suggests that they might start to pack it in a little. Atlanta's a weird one, though. I'm going to look at the NBA standings. So where are they in the standings? Obviously, losing Jalen Johnson hurts. Where are they? Okongwu is their starter. His value... What's this shit? Sports data is currently unavailable. Google, my guy. What is going on? All right. The Hawks. So they're in the 9th seed. They are 1.5 games out of the 8. They are 1.5 games above the 10th. They're 2.5 ahead of the Sixers. But the Nets, Raptors, Hornets, Wizards are well behind. Now, what are the Raptors doing? They're 16 and 35. Why did they get Ingram? To get into the 10th seed, they're 5.5 games back to Raptors. So I'm not really sure I don't know what the Hawks are doing. Do they hope the Bulls, who are also trying to tank, drop? The Sixers are going to jump up here, without question, I think. So I don't really know what the Hawks are up to. They're 1-9 in their last 10, though, so they're dropping. So maybe they are just like, right, we are out. We are done. We are down to 20 minutes left. We'll go probably 10 minutes over the edge of the deadline, and then I will just go and have a break for 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and I will be updating all my projections, and then I'll put together a show with some more coherent, structured thoughts on the deadline. All right, Diego, bye-bye. Like, why do you bother lying, mate? Like, that's the smallest dick energy I've ever seen in my life. I think this is the most people, yeah. Nick Smith plays point guard, shooting guard. Wouldn't he continue to suck? Yeah, but he's bad. Like, he sucks. So maybe he's terrible. He could start easily, but they could start KJ Simpson. They could start Dalton Connect. It's very easily they could go Simpson, Connect, Green. They could go Simpson, Smith, Connect. They could go Simpson, Connect, Smith. Smith, Connect, Green. There's many options. Smith is bad. Simpson is bad. Connect is bad. These are all bad. Green is mid to bad. They'll just rotate all of them in. None of them are good enough with enough level of pedigree to be considered untouchable players. Cody Zeller going to Houston. Yeah, that is one that just doesn't matter. The other one to watch here in deeper leagues is Bones Highland as the backup point guard to Trey. And I think that he will have some... He will end up with some value. And I think he'll have a moment... of having 12-team value. Just because I think I'm getting worried about what happens with Trae Young. I am getting worried about that. I don't know what the Hawks are getting back for Cody Zeller. But yeah, they needed to clear off something because they had too many guys on the roster. So that does make sense. Yeah, that does make sense that they would move off of him for that. But yeah, like he's going to be the 3rd string center, 4th string center. It doesn't matter. We don't. I assume we all understand we don't really worry about this Cody Zeller trade. But for completeness, we will put it up on the screen. But they needed to do that because they just needed roster spots. Bones Highland is an interesting one here. Interesting one. So just we won't add Bones. I don't think we add him in 12-team leagues, but I would add him in deep leagues. 100% I would add Bones. Like Keaton Wallace has been their backup. They could just be like, we're playing some fun basketball here down the stretch, and Bones runs it, averages 18 and 7. Like he is he could be a guy. I would add Bones Highland in deep leagues. Why do I worry about Trey? Because he's been listed on the injury report all season with Achilles tendonitis. Yes? He's missed a few games with this. They lost Jalen Johnson. They just traded DeAndre Hunter. They're going to trade Clint Capella. They traded Bogdanovic. They are blowing things up around this team. I worry that he has been banged up all season, that they might just pull the pin a little bit early. I tell you guys when I know things that people have told me. Right? I will tell you that. You know which teams I have more information on than others. You know that as well. One of the teams I have more information on is the Atlanta Hawks. You know that as well. But I am telling you this now. I have no information about Trey. I am speculating. I know nothing about this. I will check in on it, but I know nothing about this. Okay? Now, the Hawks pick this year goes to, it's unprotected. Yeah, so that's the other problem here, isn't it? Is that they lose their pick unprotected to the Spurs. So it is going to be hard for them to drop down, but they are clearly retooling their roster. And if Trey is legitimately banged up, and he's been banged up all season, I think that there is a risk, not yet, but later on, that he will not be playing down the stretch of the season. I think that is a significant risk. They've got, he is banged up. They are clearly moving on from guys. They're 1-9 in the last 10 games. They can't really stop that. So that's where we're at. Okay. Okay. Can I explain what an unprotected pick is? It means that you lose your pick no matter what. It doesn't matter what position the pick is, you just lose it. So you can put protections on the pick, say that if it's a top 5 pick, I get to keep it. If it's outside the top 5, you get it. If it's unprotected, the Spurs just get the Hawks pick. There is no way the Hawks can keep their pick this season. There's none. What do I think Quickly's rest of season value will be? Top 100, I think it's going to be reduced because Ingram is there though. But top 100, I think he can do that. When is the deadline? The deadline is in 15 minutes. Do we care about Schroeder? No. Like, who? Like, I'll ask you the question. Who does Dennis Schroeder play for? I'll ask you that question because it's not Utah. He's on the roster. He's not playing for them. Right. So we absolutely do not care about Dennis Schroeder. There's no reason to until we get information that he's on a different team. He is not going to play for Utah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Actually, my bad. Now we are hearing news on Schroeder. So there we go. He's going to the Pistons. Do we care? No, we don't. We absolutely do not care about him. He is Cade's backup. He is bad, and we don't worry about that. That's interesting, though. Did you foretell that? Did you know that? Was I late on that news? That's interesting. Anyway, Schroeder to Detroit as a part of that Jimmy Butler trade. So I'll just update that on the screen. This does not... No, you don't add Schroeder. Hopefully now that you guys know that understand that he's not playing for Utah, that you don't have to roster him. I hope you know that. He is Cade's backup. You might say, surely he can just play minutes next to Cade. Sure, but Beasley and Hardaway are there. But also, Schroeder needs to be on a bad team with the ball in his hands to be good for fantasy, and neither of those things are happening here. Okay? So I don't think we need to worry about him at all. I could be wrong. Maybe he finds a role over Beasley, and we fairly confident that Jaden Ivey's not returning, but I don't think that we need to. Now, I'm going to put this trade up on the screen with a graphic. It's a very simplified graphic just because of the nature of this deal. So don't freak out about it. I'm sure someone will. Just don't though. as I get it ready. Because, yeah, I'm just showing you the rerouting of Schroeder. But I've got no idea why. Okay, so let's bring that up on the screen. So that is the wrong thing. Whoa. Wow. Apologies for that. That was 100% the wrong thing. There we go. God, that's one of the oldest graphics I've ever seen. And it's still not coming up. Where's my thing? Anyway. First real snafu I've had. That's all right. We, as the kids say, we move. We'll fix it. Sorry about that. I'm sure that shocked everyone when that came up. It shocked me. Okay, so we've got that news of Schroeder going to Detroit. All right. Should I do something like kids do on the live streams and just have insane reactions, fall out of my chair? The Pistons plan to keep Dennis Schroeder. Cool, good for them. Nice backup point guard, because their backup point guard spot was pretty rough. Marcus Sasser was in there. That obviously hurts Sasser a lot. Yeah, it's nothing interesting. Definitely not interested in him in 10 or 12s, maybe a 14-team league. Spot. PJ Tucker staying in Toronto. Cool. He hasn't played a game in 20 years. I don't think that matters that much. So yeah, I've got on the screen there Dennis Schroeder for Jimmy Butler. Obviously, it's not a 1-for-1 trade, clearly, but it's just part of that deal. And he was routed to Utah from Golden State, whatever, man. That's just part of the deal. I have no idea if anything else is going back here or how this is working, but that's where we're at with that. But Schroeder coming in, he will get his minutes, 22, 23 of them, I would guess. And not enough to matter for most of you. Again, he's not very good, so we don't need to worry. They also bring in Lindy Waters, Hall Pass legend, who's not going to play very much. KJ Martin. They've got way too many guys on this roster still. So what are they doing? They already had too many guys on this roster. And now they're bringing in more? Who are they waiving? There's too many guys on this roster, man. They've got 21 players, including 3 two-ways. That's 3 guys they've got to move on from. People are still asking about Dennis Schroeder in 12-team leagues. No, absolutely not. Is there no chance for Vic Krejci to play bigger minutes? I mean, sure, but look at who they added. So they add in Niang, Levert, Mann, and Highland. Seems really hard, yeah? Bogdanovic was playing 0 minutes. Hunter was playing 30. So you got 30 minutes gone and whatever those other 4 play. So seems really tough, I think. I look Italian. Cool. Thanks. I'm not. When you do your DNA test and all that sort of stuff, which I did, what did my heritage come out? It was 50% Scandinavian, 40% English and Welsh, 10% Italian Greek. So maybe that was it. I'm not, though. My family has lived in Australia for 150 years. And no, I've no idea of anyone being Italian at all. Who the fuck are they waving? KJ Martin? They've got too many guys. And the thing is that when you do a trade, you take in someone, you can't just... you have to make the roster spots available to do the trade. You can't just say, oh yeah, we're trading for Josh Richardson and he's being waived. It doesn't work that way. So there's still a lot that has to happen with this Pistons team. Because they need 3 guys gone. Okay. Guys, I very much doubting we're going to get a Vooch trade. I think we still might get a Capella trade. Who else are you guys waiting on to be traded? Hit the thumb, by the way. What's with the Greek accent? I don't have one. What the Greek accent? What are you talking about? Anyway. Do I think Rob Williams is going to be traded? I do not. Is Leaky Beasley impacted? A little bit, yes. Can they waive Tobias Harris? No. Why would they do that? Rob Williams in a trade? Doesn't appear that way, does it? Bulls were underwhelmed with the offers for Vooch. Maybe they should just be whelmed because he's not very good, yes? Dennis Schroeder, man. Toronto to Brooklyn. Since the start of last season. Toronto to Brooklyn to Golden State to Utah to Detroit. The Wizards have waived Reggie Jackson. Cool. Guys, if Vooch is not traded, you don't hold on to Jalen Smith. It is a chance later on that Vooch gets shut down, but don't bank on that at all. Don't bank on that at all. Remember, after this trade deadline passes, I'll hang around for maybe 5 minutes or so, and then we'll say, oh, by the way, so Dane, you're praying that a deadline Larry deal comes. It is literally not going to happen. It is impossible to happen. It is actually illegal for that to happen. It will not happen. Don't pray. Save your prayers for something else. Why isn't Portland trading off of Simons and Grant? I don't know, because maybe they don't like their offers. Maybe they like what they're doing. I've never had Jollibee for the question there. Yeah, I'll stay around for a few minutes after this, and then I'm going to go back and do a whole bunch of work on these projections, and then come back with a more structured show. So here, so the Jazz are getting KJ Martin and Josh Richardson, so that's how they're making this work. Still don't. I guess they're tying all of this in to. They're tying it all through. The Sixers are getting put into the Jimmy Butler deal, I'm guessing. Because that's the only way to make this work. Still, they need to waive guys. KJ Martin to the Josh Richardson's washed. I wouldn't worry about him. KJ Martin is interesting because also, by the way, no John Collins trade yet so far. KJ Martin might be a better player than like Michael Potter or Kyle Filipowski. Just watch him. We just watched that KJ Martin one. He's just sort of been chucked around at the moment. That's an interesting one. Oh, here we go. Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies in a multi-team trade. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. Marcus Smart going to Washington. They're sending a first-round pick. This is a first-round pick acquisition by the Wizards. I don't really think Smart is going to do anything in Washington. Multi-team trade, but I don't know what that is or who it's involving yet. There will be a thought that you can grab Marcus Smart. I don't think that'll be the case. I don't think that'll make sense personally. But we wait and see. Yeah, okay. So we're just waiting on that one. It just when you see a veteran traded to a tanking team and a first round pick attached to it, which is I'm a little bit worried about Nurk. but Charlotte's got at least the massive gaping hole giggity at center. But the Wizards don't need Smart. They don't need to play him. Carrington, Brogdon's still there. Poole is there. George is there. Kispert is there. They don't need to play him. A multi-team trade. We're still waiting what that actually means. Three minutes. Kevin Porter for Marjon Beauchamp. Porter is that trash that he got traded for bloody... Holy shit, for Marjon Beauchamp, who is terrible. That's actually... Porter's bad, right? That's an upgrade for Milwaukee. We're not rostering Kevin Porter, but that's something that happened. So I'm reporting on it. Wow. All right. Let's put that one up. Marjon Beauchamp for Kevin Porter Jr. Wow. Remember when people liked Kevin Porter Jr.? Remember when they thought he was good? That was fun times in the world. Okay, so I'm trying to wrap my head. I need way more details on this Marcus Smart thing before we can figure out what's actually going on. I'm pretty confident in this Kevin Porter one not meaning anything. Although it does give the Bucks an interesting enough bench piece. But yeah, we don't. He needs so many guys out of the way, Kevin Porter, and a team just to not care about winning, honestly. All right, let's wait and see if we can find more about this. This doesn't affect really any fantasy league at all. Okay. People are really crashing out here over Vooch not being traded, aren't they? Thought all the Vooch lovers would have loved it. He gets to hold on to his value. Hit the thumbs if you're here. Laravia is in a part of this deal, is he? To the Kings. Okay. He's at least a usable piece. Because their depth is horrific. But he'll play 10 to 12 minutes a night, maybe. Yeah. All right, so Jake Laravia is going to the... Is it not? No, maybe that's not a part of the deal. It's just Memphis involved, so maybe it is, I don't know. Still no idea what actually is coming back there though. All right, so the Laravia to the Kings. Don't know for what. We will find out eventually. So we won't leave the live stream until we find out, because the deadline is now passed, right? But deals can still float in. So we've heard nothing on Capella, nothing on Vooch, no Portland trades, no John Collins trades. This happens all the time, guys. Remember people were thinking that Miles Turner was being traded? Most times nothing happens with so many of these ones that you wait on. So let's wait. Let's see what happens. I don't think there's anything happening with Vooch. So you can drop Jalen Smith once we just get that final confirmation. Quentin Post is being converted into a full contract. So he is actually a 16-team league option now, Post. I think he's, considering they don't have anybody to shoot, and yes, they will play Kuminga, Butler, Draymond, 3-4-5, but Post is going to play over Jackson Davis, I'm guessing. And yeah, that's a deep league spot. I'm just waiting on more of this information here. people are going to be asking the question, hey, what about Kevin Porter in Milwaukee? I don't see it, guys. He's terrible. Like he's actually terrible. He's so bad, man. So we're waiting more on this Marcus Smart deal, on the Jake LaRavia deal, and I don't think anything else is happening. James Wiseman being traded to the Raptors. There you go. That's just dumping players. It means nothing. Here we go. The Kings are sending a second rounder to Memphis, plus Colby Jones and Alex Len to Washington to get Jake LaRavia as part of the Marcus Smart deal. What the fuck is that deal? So LaRavia goes to Sacramento. Smart goes to Washington. And Colby Jones and Alex Len go there with seconds, and Washington gets a first. All right, so we've got the James Wiseman news. So LaRavia is part of this. So what is Toronto doing? So we've got LaRavia. So what is Memphis getting? 3 second-round picks. What the Okay, I'm trying to figure that out. I cannot understand that at all. Guys, stop lying. I know I can see you guys lying in the chat. I'm just trying to figure out other things out here, but just stop lying. Memphis gets salary cap space for JJJ. They didn't need salary cap space for Jaren Jackson. LaRavia and Smart out means Vince Williams and Ad. I don't think so. Again, you're talking about a like 6th, 7th man. Memphis are getting rid of Smart. They are. Smart and LaRavia gone. All right, let's check on how you liars are looking. Yep, as expected, you are lying. What is the point of lying, guys? Space to negotiate and extend Jaren Jackson. Like, they've got his bird rights. Luxury tax, yes. Yeah, look, the deadline, there's not a huge amount of, like, great things going on. Toronto collecting trade assets. Which, PJ Tucker. James Wiseman. What one? What trade assets? Thoughts on Vince Williams? Can Smart be a buyout candidate to go to a contender? The buyout rules are different, guys. If you make a certain amount of money and teams are over the aprons, you can't be signed by teams. So it doesn't really... it doesn't really work that way. I'm not interested in adding Marcus Smart at this point. I'm trying to figure out the best way to, like, process this last trade. Smart isn't expiring, that is correct. Okay. What's it like, guys, living with, like inverted penises? Lying about trades. GG Jackson a must add? No. Absolutely not. Jake LaRavia was out of the rotation last game. Smart played 18 minutes. No. Yeah. Smart is under contract for $21.6 million next year, not a buyout candidate. Exactly. He's not being bought out, and even if he was being bought out, he couldn't sign anywhere. It would make no sense. They've still got Brogdon on this team as well. It makes no sense for them to play him any sort of role that. And also, I think he might be washed. Like, that's possible too. He looked bad this season, so I wouldn't be bothered adding him. I would not be bothered. This is yeah. I'm just going to put up the basics of this deal, just so you guys are aware of it and know where some of the key guys are going. It obviously opens stuff up in Memphis. There's zero question about that. I would GG at least can become a streaming target. Scottie Pippen, I don't think it impacts, but we saw like last game that they played, the Grizzlies, that there was so many guys around that it was just they needed to cut those out. So, look, is Vince Williams an ad? I don't think so. I could see him having value, but like I still don't think that it's a must. Again, these are ones I'll have to sit and try and work through the projections on to figure out how I think it's going to play out. But it's not popping to me at this point that it's a clear ad type scenario. The Suns are not moving Kevin Durant. Like, yep, cool. Cam Johnson not traded. Nick Claxton not traded. Remember yesterday when everyone was expecting Kevin Durant to get traded? Wow, the Hawks got the rights to Alpha Kaba. The Rockets had to move Jaden Springer. So where did Springer go? Springer's gone somewhere as well now. I don't know where. All right, so Vince will get a boost. GG will get a boost in Memphis. Whether it's enough to matter, I'd say probably not, honestly. Kevin Porter an ad? Fuck, no. Would he start or play meaningful minutes? Like, I know that Andre Jackson starts and he's not really doing much, but Porter's bad. He needs the ball in his hands. He cannot shoot. He does not defend. He would make no sense with Lillard and Giannis and Kuzma. He makes no sense. So, no. Alpha Kaba. Not Alfaba. Alfaba might be better than Alpha Kaba. I don't know. Don't talk in chats. Can Vooch get waived? Like, no. But no all caps. What are you talking about? Why is Portland sticking with 3 centers? Why not? Mobo and ad? Not yet, no. Not at this point, no. The player's name that you are wondering about is Alpha Kaba. Someone said Dennis to Sacramento. No, Dennis Schroeder has gone to Detroit. Okay. I'm just checking to see if there's any other news coming in. Orlando's not doing anything officially. Golden State is done. Jalen Smith, I'm pretty sure you can just move on from again. Maybe just wait 5 minutes, but I'm certain if we knew anything about a Vooch trade, we would have that information now. So I feel okay about moving on there. Wiseman is not a trade asset. Correct. He is not. My visual says Schroeder to the Kings. It does. My bad. I don't know why that says that. That shouldn't say that. I don't know why that graphic says that. I am so sorry. Let me adjust that. Sorry, guys. That was a rushed job from me. Ignore that. My bad. I'm fixing it now. Sorry about that. I was trying to figure out everything that was going on, and I missed that I put that incorrect. So that is absolutely my fault. My bad. And after going at this for 3 hours, it's going to almost be time for us to get out of here. And yes, I'll be back with a full trade deadline recap show once we've sat down and assessed everything and try and put things in perspective of who's in front of who and all that sort of stuff. Because at the moment, it's very hard to do. I'd say that Connect, Buzalis, Makovic are probably some of the options to have a look at. But nothing like the Wizards get Marcus Smart, Colby Jones, Alex Len. Jones and a first-round pick. I don't think Smart is going to be worth it. Someone said my guess is Malcolm Brogdon's on the move. KJ Martin going to the Jazz as well. So that's another player that needed to go. All right, cool. So we knew they needed to cut out names. So KJ is going to the Jazz. Yes, and Josh Richardson is too. So we're still waiting on a bunch of stuff. Capella's not moving. Nurkic is interesting as a pickup. Can I list Cool Hand Luke? No. Because do you want me to pull it out of my ass and make it up? No, you don't. I will come back with more information and a more streamlined idea, because I don't provide any information about valuations of players without actually trying to project it out. Yeah? I didn't say BI is definitely healthy. If you're saying that I said I think he might be, but I don't know that. Okay. I'm just checking, make sure nothing else is going on. Cam Johnson didn't move. Okay. The one to look at is now is just where Brogdon's going to go. I think we're done with this. So Jalen Smith is a drop. I'm not considering Marcus Smart an add. Grant, I can probably say this now because we're late in the show. Shut the fuck up. Like, bro, what? Look. Okay. What else is going on? Daniel Tice got waived. Okay. He's an interesting buyout guy, maybe, but okay, he's waived. And I just want to wait to see if there's any news on Brogdon. That's the last one to look at here, I think. What does schedule plus mean? It means a positive schedule in the short term versus the rest of the league. Do we add Ingram if available? Yes. Makovic is a potential add, yes. Nurkic is a potential add, yes. Diabate, less so. KJ Simpson, deeper leagues, maybe. I think DeAndre Hunter's probably a drop. I think Levert and Niang could be adds in Atlanta. There's nothing like, if you're going to look at like guys, like I'd consider Buzelis, Connect, Pajemski, Makovic, Nurkic. I was about to make a joke that was probably too rude, so I won't do that. Yeah. Diabate's value is down with Nurkic there. I wouldn't say that Connect is a must add, but probably yes. Is Scoot still a hold? Yes. Makovic over Keon Johnson? No. All right. Okay. I think we're going to head out. Thanks you, Owen. Thank you for that little... I just wanted to see if there's anything on Brogdon. Oh, what's this? Interesting twist to the Jake LaRavia trade. Okay. What does that mean? Oh, it's nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, cool. They were saying they can't extend him because they got his option declined, his rookie option declined. All right, I'm going to go work on this stuff. I'll be back with the show later on. Makovic, Buzelis, Nurkic, Connect, probably the major guys we're looking at here. And it's going to be a bunch of guys around the periphery. Smart will have value at times. It won't last. KJ Simpson will have some value at times. Kelly Olynyk might have some value at times. It's going to be all over the place. Thanks for being a part of the live show. We broke some records for live viewers, which is a W. I love that. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of things. And again, we'll just try and break all this down. We'll be back later on. If you are a Basketball Monster member, we are going to... I'm going to go in and update all the projections as best I can, and then we'll come back with a show later on in the day. I don't know what my day will look like in terms of recap shows. I don't know that I'll do one. Some of it's going to be time, some of it's going to be energy, but we'll see what we're able to get to, whether it's a preview show for tomorrow, whatever it is. We'll do some stuff. Anyway, keep it sleazy, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Apparently Marvin Bagley is now going to the Grizzlies as well, which does not matter.